Welcome to Daytona Beach, Florida, home of the Daytona 500 for many, many years. The first race here happened in its current configuration in 1959, and we are here now in 2016 getting ready for the Great American Race. Unlike so many sports, NASCAR holds its Super Bowl of racing as its very first race. We are here, Rachel Whiteford with Cam Walsh and Aaron Likens, and we are bringing you coverage of the top split race in the NASCAR iRacing series here at Daytona Beach. Cam, Aaron, great to be here.
Yo, Ed. Yeah, absolutely. Either way, we'll both say absolutely at the same time. No, it's great to be here at Daytona. We were just here, seems like, not more than a month ago for a 24-hour race. Now we get to use the full dome, and we're going to go a heck of a lot faster, Aaron.
Yeah, it's going to go a lot faster and a lot closer, door to door at 200 miles an hour. Oftentimes they say this is a 200 mile an hour chess match, but really it's more of a game of diplomacy, as this track tends to lead your greatest friends to be enemies, and your greatest enemies, well, when it comes down to the final 10, can be your greatest friends.
Well, here at the World Center of Racing, the cars are rolling off pit road, and we're going to go through your starting grid today. On pole position, it's Chris Overland in the unusual number 13 Bernard's Chevrolet. Starting alongside him will be Logan Sheets. The number 3 in row number 2 will be Bill Brown. Alongside him, it is Ryder Smith. Jonathan Goke will be our in-race reporter today. He's in the number 6 car, starting P5. Connor Anton and Derek Bordeaux starting P6 and 7. Alex Bergeron, Nicholas Shelton, and Kyle Brummett rounding at your top 10. Whilst the rest of your positions are on the screen. We were going to have a chat to Jonathan Goke, but we don't seem to have him available right now. We'll try and call him up throughout the race, but as it stands, we are getting ready for an incredible 200 laps of racing here at Daytona. 200 laps, 500 miles, guys. It's going to be an intense few hours.
Yes, it is, Rachel, and it may be 500 miles, but this really is a sprint race. Track position is so vital here. You're going to see multiple strategies. Some cars elected to not do qualifying time, start in the back. They're afraid of the infamous big one. Whereas other cars are going to want to make their way through the field, because passing here, once it gets stacked up too wide, there's really no place to go, much like rush hour on an interstate. We're in turn 4, about to go racing, Rachel.
We are. The cars have formed up too wide on the high banks of Daytona. Chris Overland leading the field behind the pace car here at Daytona. That pace car will soon take the long left-hand turn to pit road, and we will be racing here on this 2.5 mile super speedway. Overland takes control of the field, and the green flag is out on the Great American Race. Field comes off turn number 2 here at Daytona. We are racing now in the Daytona 500. Chris Overland is leading still up on the high side there, pulling that second lane, trying to keep advantage. Underneath him will be the number 10 of Bill Brown. Will take the point here, will lead lap number 1 of the 500 ahead of the pole sitter Chris Overland. And inside line definitely getting a big run at the moment, Aaron. Just really pushing away now. The outside lane just not able to get hooked up. Not enough cars up there. Guys diving low very quickly.
Very puzzlingly moved by Chris Overland, pole sitter, coming off of turn 2. He went to the high side, so I definitely think that was a strategy call there, perhaps to pick up Logan Sheets, but that move's cost him the lead, second, third, and unless more cars get to the outside, he could be on the long road backwards.
Well, Chris Overland probably not too worried about going backwards at this stage of the race. We still have, well, once we cross the line this time, by 198 laps remaining. Of course, being on that high side, Aaron, very important here. The tyre wear is much less for these guys, so good strategy move we're seeing from him there as number 6, Jonathan Goke pulls to the outside.
Pulls to the outside, and that's the thing, you got to be careful. This track can make you feel like Superman. You're going to have a huge run, and it's very tempting to duck out as Goke does slot back into P3, but you can have a huge run. You're going about 5-6 miles an hour faster than the cars in front, and you pull out, and immediately you hit a wall of air, slow down immediately, and for Goki thought he would take the lead, but thankfully he got back to 3, but here comes the outside line trying to get something to work, but they fall apart on the entry to 3.
They do indeed. Top line not really as big or as formed up as that bottom line, although we have an early breakaway really by this front pack. I believe the last car in position there is the number 8 of Isaac Gann, although we have the 29 car behind them of Shyla Brown, who is closing in on that group. The rest of the pack a little bit spread out at the moment. Guys taking it very easy early on, although the front looking very regimented. 2 by 2 by 2 at the front of this race as we go running here at the moment. Back in the field, very spread out, single lines running at the moment, Cam. So drivers really looking after those tyres, staying in a good position to keep themselves running if this stays green.
Yes, and that is one thing that we were going to talk about. As far as pits go, it's going to be extraordinarily important. Yes, here at the chess match, or whatever we may call it, at 200 miles an hour, and they are doing 200 miles an hour. Bill Brown hitting 200 in the corners. They're going to have to be working on the best pit stops that they possibly can. Now, I have to say, I'm very surprised at the fight back from the top line. Derek Bourdou is the one at the top there in that number 5 car in 3rd position. That second line isn't really falling back as much as I thought it was going to. That inside line should have this power, though, and they are 2 by 2 going all the way back until almost 18th, 19th position. That is just an impressive sight indeed.
You will of course see that top line getting very close to the inside line when they can. The side draft ever so important here at Daytona, as we see the 5 car there of Derek Bourdou just trying to hold on to this lead pack as he drops back somewhat. Behind him, Chris Overland doing his best to hold it there on the outside in that unusual number 13. We're used to seeing him in the 47 in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, aren't we, guys?
Yes, the Peak Antifreeze Series, which of course will be starting momentarily, well, not momentarily, which will be starting very, very soon. It is going to be a very exciting season.
Oh, incident, we need to, well, moment there to look at. The 29 car there of, I believe that is Shyla Brown, grabbing the wall coming off turn 2. That car tight already.
Benjamin Trufflander and Johnny Reed Foley spin off of turn 2 as well, so a multiple car incident, but off the line. So 3 cars spinning to the inside, but they all keep it going.
We'll see if we can get a replay up there of that incident to show you, but that was the number 9 car gets in the wall and pulls the 17 with him, and I believe that's also the 23 car there of Francesco Rizzi in the, I believe that's the Team GT Ford Fusion, along with the 17 of, that is the driver of Benjamin Trufflander we mentioned, and of course the 9 of Johnny Reed Foley. So early disappointment for those guys. They are, of course, no yellow flag. This was below the yellow line on the track, so no caution flag flies early here at Daytona.
And Reed Foley brings his car to the pits. That's going to be a lengthy repair. Other 2 cars involved still on track. They've lost the draft, have damage, and there is no more helpless feeling than being at Daytona without the draft. Even with an undamaged car, if you're not in the draft, you're going to be 2 to 3 seconds slower than the leaders, and as a driver, I don't know if there is a more depressing feeling than being alone at Daytona.
Absolutely, Daytona, no help for you if you are on your own. This is the big draft track, and we'll see that when it comes to pit cycles, guys. Of course, we'll see these cars coming in 2s, 3s, 4s, and even 5s, depending on location on track, because you always need help here. Cars in tandem, cars in draft are always faster than cars running alone. You'll see that when we see back markers caught and passed by your lead group very rapidly. Of course, the field here separating out dramatically into single file racing. Of course, Chris Overland, your pole sitter, back in P10 at the moment, really at the head of the 2 wide there, really at the back of that lead single file line, as he does once again pull to the outside with the 24 car behind, helping him of Joseph Gallotta. He will try and help the 13 car move forward. That double clutch Menards Wendell Scott Foundation Chevrolet there, trying to make progress on the outside, but just not able to get it done.
No, that outside line is just is really falling apart in the last 2 laps or so. Bill Brown is putting a stamp on the lead right here, but I think Jonathan Goke and Alex Bergon, who are just the cars sitting behind him, are just really waiting, as there is still some too-wide action going back in for 10th position overall. But if you look at where Overland is, he, as they come past the start-finish line one more time to finish out lap number 10, he's already back to 10th position. Derek Bordeaux, who was on the outside line, he's now on the inside line. He's back in 9th position. That outside line really just sort of faltered and sort of lost that momentum. Lose that momentum, that's exactly what's going to happen. So, as well, we still have some 2x2 racing. For the most part, though, I have to say, the most of the pack there trying to be single file.
They are trying to run single file at the moment. Of course, that low line will really wear the tyres on these guys later on in this run. And this does have a green flag a feel to it at the moment, Aaron. These cars being very respectful early on, being patient. Of course, 190 laps of racing here. None of it matters until you get to that final 10 of 200.
Oh, you mentioned it earlier.
Actually, Aaron, sorry, 3 wide there. The 8 car inside.
Yes.
13 and the 7 on the bottom there. That is Logan Sheets. Started on your front row alongside Isaac Gann, who started in P16, passing the 13 there of Overland.
That was a designed move. I don't think Overland wants to be up front. He was on pole, went to the outside, lost positions, and he's just been losing positions ever since. He's had a chance to duck in. Now he does duck in to the inside line, but I think we're seeing a moving back by design. But traditionally, Rachel, this race does have a green flag feel. Typically, in the previous years of the Daytona 500, you don't get that first caution until about halfway. So that's going to make pit stops very vital. You do not want to be caught off guard and pit by yourself. Just one lap by yourself, 2 seconds, as everybody else comes out of the pits, you have nobody to work with, and then you can very easily find yourself one or more laps down. But typically, you mentioned the side draft, being very respectful right now, but as the laps dwindle down, so too does the margin that we'll see the cars side draft, and wouldn't be surprised to see some door-to-door banging when we get inside the final 20.
Very much so, of course. Looking at a few cars being caught by your leaders at the moment. One of those is Benjamin Traflandia in that number 17 car. He is about to go a lap down in the Canard PC Motorsports number 17 Toyota there. Getting caught by Bill Brown, your leader at the moment, and Jonathan Goku, the number 6 car. Behind him, that Pepsi Chevrolet. Of course, we're expecting to see this be a fairly simple pass at the moment. The single file, no real issue for these guys as they go through and past the 17 car as he goes one lap down. And as Cam mentioned earlier, we do have a Doge car in the field tonight, the number 28 car of Alex Bergeron. Cam, you do love the Doge.
Well, you gotta love it. For one, I thought that was a very entertaining story last year. Of course, with Josh Wise in the real NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, as it was funded by this Dogecoin digital currency type thing. At the end of the day, there got to be a car with a bunch of dogs on it. I can't be sad about that. But either way, he is sitting, that is Alex Bergeron. He's sitting in 3rd position with Connor Hanton and Jonathan Goke behind him. I have to say, though, looking through the field, we've got some, yes, as they all dive in the yellow line. It's been great. It's been Bobby Cheney. Bobby Cheney in that 22 car. I've been trying to keep my eye on him. He's been trying to get past Eric Teskey on the inside line on the backstretch, and every single lap Teskey's had to work his way down to that double stripe. Now, of course, Rachel, that double stripe line can't pass below that, so it's oh boy, that's probably where some action's going to be soon.
And Rachel, right now, the 26th car of Kyle Brumet, he is really pushing. Kyle loves being up front. He is really trying to push that 22 forward, but with everybody right on the white line, there's really no place to go. And one thing we haven't talked about, if you are right in somebody's bumper for several laps, you can overheat. As we see Kyle dive a little bit to the inside, trying to get some clean air to that grill. If you're tucked in too long, the car can overheat.
Very much so. Drivers having to maintain their temperature of that car, otherwise suffer engine problems. But as we see that number 16 car of Ryder Smith on the outside, he is doing his best to side draft your field. No real help for him apart from the 24 car behind him of Joseph Galata. But no real drafting partner at the moment. Galata pulling out occasionally as Smith will finally duck back inside there. We are seeing now that is the number 9 car being passed. Johnny Reed Foley. He's 5 laps down, going past your field on the high side, as he is really looking like he's out of the race at the moment. as we have a good number of cautions. We have some moves going on at the front of the race though, as we see Bill Brown and Goat racing hard there, being followed by the 28 and the 12 of Connor Anton. As they are looking like they're trying to make some moves, but really settling in for the long haul here, Aaron. These guys just testing the water.
Yes, for those in the top 5, this is what you want at Daytona. The 2-3 wide looks spectacular, fun to watch, but when you're in the middle of it, very nerve-wracking. So anytime at Daytona that you can just spot in line and just wait. Right now for Jonathan Goat, there's no reason to try to take the lead. This race can come down to how well you get on and off pit road, and really one spot's really not going to make a difference. And as soon as you go side by side, that allows everybody else to stack up as, oh, Kyle Burmett's going to get to the inside of 22. Really didn't want to let him in, but, oh, Burmett finally makes the pass on Bobby Cheney.
Yes, he used the lap car there, Francesco Rizzi, the lap down car, involved in the early incident to get that pass done. So we do see some movement happening up towards your front. Of course, just explain the yellow line rule to our viewers who may be new to watching iRacing's NASCAR coverage. Of course, the yellow line here is very different to any other track in NASCAR apart from Talladega Superspeedway. Of course, the Superspeedway track's the double yellow line, means you cannot complete a pass under that line. You are allowed to go under the yellow line if you're breathing the engine, cooling that car down, or if you're avoiding something. You are permitted to go there, but you cannot make a pass below that line. But all of the tracks, if it's paved, it's fair game. As we see the guys racing here out of turn number 4 now to complete lap number 18. And we are looking like we're a tenth of the way through the race, guys, and it's been pretty fair so far.
It's been calm. It has been calm. As the laps tick down, though, don't worry. We are going to get our fair share of excitement passes to 3 wide. Everybody in the top 5 really's been behaving themselves, but Kyle Burnett on back. There's been a lot of jockeying for positions. As the 8 car has
Isaac Gann. That is Isaac Gann, who's clipped the wall. Coming off turn number 2, Aaron. He's we've said this earlier on. His car's really starting to get tight after 20 laps, and Gann up on the outside had nowhere to go. He could not lift out enough. There was a car to his inside. He scraped that wall. That will put him down on speed with some bodywork damage to the number 8 Alienware machine. But hopefully he can get that sorted if we get a caution. He may still never really be as fast. That is the real detriment to Daytona, of course. Everything is based on that top speed. You are damaged in any way whatsoever. You might be okay in the draft, but on your own, you are in serious trouble.
Oh, you have that right on spot. You can be damaged, and in the draft, you can hang. And you really don't know how bad your car is until you try to improve your position. Then it's very aggravating because you really only hit a plateau in the field. You can hang, but you can't go anywhere.
Absolutely, as we see Kyle Brummett making some moves there. In P number 6, he is currently sitting on the inside line there behind that 12 car of Connor Anton. As he gets inside the 31 there of Eric Teskey, he will make that move complete. Teskey trying to slot in front of the 22 car there of Bobby Cheney. Cheney giving him a little room, but didn't want to let that 31 car in line. 31 car forced that issue as the 10 car of Bill Brown actually goes backwards now. Alex Bergeron here for P number 2.
Yes, and he's just hit the wall. He is now hitting the wall, coming off the back straight. Bill Brown, of course, the rest of the field is now scrambling to go on the inside line there. Bill Brown, he had a pretty rough exit off before.
Oh, big hit by the number 10 car. Contact, and we have big avoidance going on in your field. We will have to get you a replay of that one. But incident there for the number 10 car of Bobby Cheney. So we'll watch that on a replay as you're seeing him there pushing wide up to 10 hits the wall. Collected by the 24 car there, and that's Joseph Galata, and cars fan out around them to avoid this. But again, no caution, no car spun on the racetrack. Lots of contact, but everyone kept their cars in one piece, mostly. So that's really spread our field out, guys.
Right now, turn 2 is our trouble spot as Alec Bergeron does go to the point. So much for me saying that it was going to be calm up front. That calm, well, I guess we hit lap 20 and all the drivers saw 200 because really we are seeing moves being made right now, and kind of odd to see this on lap 20.
Certainly very early for this to be seen, but we did say the tyre drop-off can be a factor these guys will have to consider. And of course we're seeing that really become an issue, and these guys really pushing as much as they can to try and save tyres, save fuel. These are the factors that matter, of course, Aaron, in a 500-mile race. You have not got a race car without tyres and fuel.
Yeah, it's, I like to say it's never too early to start thinking about as Goke hits the ball off of turn 2. Goke bounces off the ball. That car, I think he's going to be okay, but, oh, if you want to be on that outside line now, we're seeing, and the winds aren't that great, but they are blowing towards turn 2. I mean, it's almost a static 2 miles an hour, but you're hitting that wind right as you come off of turn 2, and that could also be catching these cars out as, oh man, as soon as these cars are planted, they look good, and as soon as that banking falls off, the cars just shoot to the outside. And for Goke, I think he's going to be okay. Going to be some extra time in the pits, but we got to watch whoever's in the outside line. Oh, turn 2 is tricky today.
It certainly is. Number 6 car there trying to avoid being dropped by the 20 car as cars stream past him and he goes backwards. Of course, that car just able to hang on in the draft, but really causing a bit of a bottleneck in your field there as cars file past on the inside. That 6 car being held high as he unfortunately heads towards the rear of your field. That damage really critical for his race. We are not expecting to see Jonathan Goke in victory lane here today unless some dramatic things happen, of course, so far. Alex Bergeron, number 28, your leader here on lap number 25 as we start this lap. Connor Anton behind him, and behind that, Kyle Brummett, Eric Teskey, Chris Overland, and Bobby Cheney.
And Overland's, as much as he bled positions at the start, he is now making his way through the field on the outside, going forth. So, Rachel, I have to wonder if he moved back. We saw him running the high line. Running the high line does conserve tires. Right on the inside, it is a very hot day here at Daytona. The track will get greasy over time. So I wonder if Overland was playing a game, let everybody else use their stuff up, and as they slow down, well, he's got a little left in the bank.
This certainly appears to be the way to race here this week. Of course, Chris Overland has run already in the Alfa Tech shootout for the NASCAR Peak Entry Series, which happened last Tuesday. You can catch it on iRacing Live, of course, if you want to watch the pros go at it here on the high banks of Daytona. And you'll see them again this Tuesday, of course, at 9 o'clock Eastern for the first round of the NASCAR Peak Entry Series. But we saw him saving tyres, and now Chris Overland back in your top 5. Sitting there in P4 with help from behind from I believe that's the 15 car of Matt Cocker, as he drops to the inside now, leaving Cocker on the outside on his own. But Overland up in the front once again.
And this is something, as Overland's trying to get to the inside of the 26, there was not a hole there, but this is what I meant by diplomacy at the start of the race. If a driver helps you to the front, and then you duck to the inside and leave them that lone car on the outside, drivers, Rachel and Cam, we sort of have long memories. We're going to remember that, and as the race progresses, you're really not going to want to help that guy that you know is going to leave you hung out to dry. So when a driver does help you to the front, you want to make every effort that you can to help them come along with you, because if you hang them out to dry, they will remember that later in the end game.
Absolutely, friends made early on, best being kept until the end of the race. We see Overland at the front now, going for the lead on the outside of Alex Bergeron, your race leader. Behind him, it's the number 15 of Matt Cocker, as the side draft is used to full effect by that 13 Menard Chevrolet, and he will go to the point here on lap number 27, on to 28. Chris Overland finally gets to lead a lap here at Daytona.
So much for me questioning what he was doing. His strategy, well, we saw it played out. So you don't typically put Daytona in strategy, but this type of racing leads to a lot of really strategies that you may not typically see. So well played, Chris Overland, taking the point. He did have a little bit of help with Matt behind him, but really that was just all driver there.
Absolutely, Chris Overland doing a great job there, and he will lead another lap here in Daytona. In fact, his early strategy of saving tyres, falling back, has really paid off for that 13 Menard Chevrolet, as he is followed through now by the Apex 15 car there of Matt Cocker. Car getting through, but inside is the Doge car of Bergeron, making another play for the inside line, as he's followed by the 12 there of Connor Anton. We have two wide racing at the front of your field, and well, we've seen two wide racing go very wrong earlier on, Cam. Of course, cars pushing wide into the corner.
Yes, it is, but Overland really seems to keep making a comeback. Matt Kocher is following him in that number 15 Tom's Garage car, but Chris Overland, though, they both clip off into the front line. That is the thing to do in the corners. That's they're probably going to stay high through the corners, and the Doji car of Alex Bergeron will probably go low, as there was a little puff of smoke, but I didn't see anybody go out from the back. So it is still hammer and tong racing here, as we always expected to be at Daytona. But we got to start wondering about where your fuel entries will be, how much fuel these cars do have, as we do close out in a lap number 30, as it's still going through the corners there. Chris Overland and Matt Kocher, those two cars getting pushed right on up, but Connor Anton and Alex Bergeron, who were on the inside line, as we're seeing three wide between Ryder Smith, Derek Cordu, and Josh Michaelmore, as they are going down. They'll have to sort that out before the turn. I don't see where that'll work out, Rachel.
Well, the 30 guy doesn't work out for him as he gets high. I think just avoiding the wall there for Josh Michaelmore.
We have a couple cars in the wall in the back of two, though.
We do, Cam.
It's Massimilio Rizzi, and we do have our first yellow out.
We do. Massimilio really, of course, laps down after his early incident there. We will hopefully be able to get you a replay of what happened. Cam, take us through it.
So what we can see is Massimilio Rizzi in that number 25 car. It's him and Isaac Gahn, the number 8 car, that red car. They're going through the corner, and it just looks like that number 8 car just gets the rear end and just sort of takes him in, and, well, then he'll climb up into the wall. He starts spinning it out. Most of the cars are making great avoidances. Didn't look like there was really any more contact, Rachel, past that. But
Lorenzi.
Yeah, so that's just a rough day for Rizzi and crew.
Certainly is, of course. Rizzi was multiple laps down before that incident happened. His race could well be over now. Of course, Chris Overland, your leaders, will come now to pit stops. We'll see those guys heading down pit road for some strategy, but whilst they do, we're going to head to a quick commercial break, and we'll join you before we go green. Welcome back to iRacing Live here, Racebot TV, bringing you the iRacing.com Daytona 500 here in the NASCAR iRacing series. And well, the leader of your race now is going to be Eric Teskey in that number 31 car. So, of course, exciting developments here at Daytona as he takes the lead from Chris Overland, who, of course, still seems to be sitting in his pit box. So, of course, he's gone to the back here. So, strategy call, Aaron, for Overland.
Well, I almost wonder if he had some repairs to do. Of course, we were talking about that outside line. Maybe when our eyes were a gander somewhere else, he might have taken it into that outside wall, which we have been seeing. That's one of those developing stories of the day, Rachel. That outside line on the exit of turn number 2, it's caught a lot of people out today.
Certainly has, but no real contact was seen from Overland. He seemed to sit in his pit box. No damage visible on that car. So another early cycle strategy from Overland. He's gone to the back early on to save tyres. We could see him at the front again by the end of a cycle, but the more cars you have in front of you, the more chance there is of being caught in an accident. And what do we know, guys? Cautions breed cautions.
Yes, they do. And right now, everybody that was struggling with the greasy track, well, now they're going to feel like they need to go to the front, and you got to pick them off when you can. When you have the maneuverability, you got to go early. So on this restart, expect to see things a little bit more hectic because this race did have a green flag feel to it. And if we get that 100 laps of green, you got to be in the front. You can't be in the back because the longer you go, the harder it is to make your way forward. So expect this restart to be very hectic, very frantic, and expect whatever strategy Overland's on, I'm not going to question it.
Absolutely not. We know he knows exactly what he needs to do, of course. Fuel here, we're looking at about 40 laps of fuel with the lifting these guys are doing into the corners later on, especially with the weather we have at the moment. Of course, it is 78 degrees Fahrenheit with 2-mile-an-hour winds, and we're looking, I believe, at a partially cloudy sky, so it's warmer than it could be, which means these tyres are being pushed very hard. The guys working hard to look after those. Alex Bergeron, actually, your leader now after we've cycled through. Logan Sheets in P2, where he qualified, actually, and Eric Teskey in P number 3. Matt Cocker in P number 4 with Connor Anton, Kyle Brummett, Derek Bordeaux, Ryder Smith, Blake Reynolds, and Josh McElmore, rounding out your top 10 for this restart here. As we'll be going green, we expect, as we see Cocker, I believe, head to pit road early, so topping up on fuel there for Matt Cocker. This is a very late decision.
And, well, I say it's never too early to start thinking about fuel strategy, but if 40 laps is our target, we're going to be getting the green with lap 34. So, if we were on that cusp of lap 40, I would say that's a very good gamble. But right now, you're going to have to make the same amount of pit stops. So maybe he does. Maybe he knows the storms are brewing. He wanted no part of it. If that's the case, you do want to make that pit stop, go to the back. But if you commit to that strategy, Rachel, and when I've raced at Daytona, I say, okay, I'm going to stay in the back. I know they're going to wreck, but in the midst of the race,
Aaron, we have actually updated news for you, I'm afraid, to say this is, of course, going green this time by. We have multiple cars head to pit road on the 1-2 green lap, including the likes of Goke, Overland, De Jong, Reed, and Cheney. So we might be having a second safety pack forming of guys who are going to run together, stay a little off the main pack, and play the long game here. So we could be some drivers perhaps expecting trouble on this restart now as we head into turn number 3.
And if so many drivers do that strategy, the problem is if they're so close to that front pack, if a crash does happen, the front car, the safety pack, so to speak, slows down, but the people behind them can't see the wrecks forming, and you get a secondary accident. So if too many people play the safe game, it can actually be kind of dangerous.
It can indeed now as we head out of turn number 4. Here, Alex Bergeron and Logan Sheets leading the field to the green flag here once again, as we are going to go green on lap 35 here at Daytona. That pace car about to take his turn to pit road. Field under the command of Alex Bergeron. Green flag will be out very shortly, and green flag is out away from Bergeron, and a good start there on the inside line. Poor start from Sheets on the outside as the 26 and the 16 push hard, but really poor start there. Logan Sheets dives to the inside there, and Bergeron and the 31 car behind him there of Eric Teskey taking an early high entry into the corner there, so trying to save a little tyres as they can on the initial run here, Aaron, but that pack behind them looking hungry.
Of course, every restrictor plate broadcast has mentioned this. It does take about a whole lap to get these cars up to full song, so if you get help, if you get pushed on the restart, that is just vital to be able to break out. So whichever line gets that push at the start really can dictate the pace, as we saw the inside line there work, and now the 26-16 all the way back in about P5, P7, but as now the cars come up to full song, they may be able to use that side draft and really start working their way forward.
Very much so, and well, we're going to shut up for a moment and let you hear the sound of these engines at full song here with the whole pack together, so you just sit back, listen, and enjoy. what a sound cam these cars are making here at Daytona. The high banks really amplifying that roar we have of a pack at full speed.
Oh, absolutely. They say Daytona's a stadium, of course, that brings an argument, but I have to say, when you're watching these cars roll around here going 200 plus, it is definitely something to see indeed. But Alex Bergeron right now is holding fairly well over Eric Teskey and Logan Sheets. Kyle Brummett's, well, we've been seeing him quite often today. He's really trying to push his way through the field, and all he's holding the outside line, he's really just holding it by himself. So I have a feeling that Ford of Derek Bordeaux on the inside of him was probably just going to get by in a couple of laps or so, but we'll have to see. Well, they're trying to form one line, but between Derek Bordeaux and Kyle Brummett, it just hasn't happened yet.
It's quite interesting seeing most of the whole pack on the top line here at Daytona, as we do see, in fact, a lead change. Eric Teskey on the inside there. Seems to be at the head at the moment, but forwards will go Bergeron. Bergeron will lead another lap as he's pushed back to the front by the 26 there of Kyle Brummett. Brummett being a really good pusher cam from what we've seen so far today.
Well, that we have. He seems to be making the right decisions, so he had to make quite a hasty decision earlier on and go almost below that line to make a pass that he had been working on for some time now, but he is looking to push that Dogecoin car of Alex Bergeron back up to the front over the Arias number 31 car. That orange paint scheme butts out just like that. Alex Bergeron says, well, thanks, boss. We'll see you later. And now Kyle Brummett is going well back. I have a feeling he'll probably get back in the line. Yes, he will. Go back to single file. Now, it's always not the best idea, Rachel, to use people like that, but well, you never know. We can come back to him.
It probably will one day, and it's a little early, as Aaron mentioned earlier on, to burn a bridge. And well, it might seem that Alex Bergeron did just that, but sometimes if you aren't making enough progress to pull two cars with you past the leader, sometimes you just have to say, sorry, I need to pull in and secure that spot. So perhaps no hard feelings there from Kyle Brummett. The high line is particularly hard in the draft at the moment, Aaron, for these drivers to get past him.
Yeah, I did mention lead change. I was a little confused. Bergeron just gave up the inside, allowed Eric to the inside, but what I think Bergeron saw, and perhaps his spotter saw, was just how big of a run Kyle Brummett had on the outside. So our leader, Bergeron, went to the outside and was able to maintain the lead on the high side. So as we get further down towards the end, remember that. Bergeron, very, very apt at working both lane, so a very I think that's going to show us that outside line, you can maintain the lead out there. So if that outside line has a run to stall it out, the only way you can win is if you are in the front car of that train. So we saw Bergeron do that, as Brummett now going to try the outside once again.
He certainly is, as we saw the field passing Mate Lorenzi there back in the number 11 car as he goes one lap down. 25 cars left on your lead lap there, as Kyle Brummett at the front is leading once again. The 26 there of Brummett. Pushing the car under the line.
Save it.
There you go. Save there from Logan Sheets. Try and get a replay of that moment there, because that was spectacular, as we have a little bit of bumping and shoving early on. Kyle Brummett on the high side, he forces his way down. He's not clear. Flips number 7 there of Logan Sheets. Sheets grabs the yellow line, so loose there, but saves that car. What a save by Logan Sheets. That certainly has everyone's blood pumping. That could have been the big one.
A lot of drivers are cheering Sheets right now. Sheets is probably going to question the spotter of the car that said that he was clear when it was still car low. But man, of all the places on the track that is the most difficult to save, it is in the tri-oval. The cars are made to be on the 30-something degrees banking in the corners. The tri-oval, not that banked, about 18 degrees. So when you do get light there, when you do get on the apron, it is very hard to gather it back up. And Sheets, if he can seal this win, well, he's going to think about what happened on lap 42 and wonder just how did he get away with that.
Absolutely a great moment there for Logan Sheets. One of your front row starters here today, starting outside of Chris Overland. And speaking of Chris Overland, he's actually now up to P number 11. Restarted back outside your top 20 on our restart on lap 28. Well, he's now back nearly inside that top 10. Himself and Matt Cocker have been pushing hard here. They are working their way back towards the front. using that higher side to firm effect. Of course, it's cooler up there, the track is not as warm, there is a little less rubber perhaps, and well, they are making it work. Less steering angle in there as well. It's keeping those tyres alive, so this is a good position for them to be in. Once they get to that front, Aaron, things should be a little easier for them.
Yeah, and we saw in the first run, about lap 20, is when Overland started passing cars as if they had a parachute behind them. So we'll see, we're about 10 laps into this run now. We'll see if Overland can, as we get another 5-7 laps, I think that's when we'll see Overland go to the outside and with or without help, move through the field. Right now, he's really keeping about 2 car lengths between him and 10th, Ryan Doucette. So, well, here we go, Overland to the outside. Is this going to be the start of the onslaught of passes?
It certainly should be, as he's caught the front pack here, the top 10, as they go sailing past the driver there of Ryan Doucette. But we had our restart on lap 34, of course. We're now on 45, so about 11 laps complete here, Aaron, on this field run. So about 10 laps before we start to see tyres really starting to wear off and these cars getting tight. We should really see the advantage for Overland and Cocker of running on the outside line. They have been really making major progress despite the fact they've been running on a slower position. And it will certainly pay off for them later on. But at the front, it is still Alex Bergeron, Eric Teskey, Kyle Brummett and Derek Bordeaux. Logan Sheets, after that monstrous save, holds on now to P number 5. But as we see Overland making even more passes behind them, he's just got past Jason K. Miller. In fact, Miller going backwards there on the low side on his own. He gets passed by Overland and Cocker, but not caught there by Doucette.
Gotta wonder, Overland can make a pass on the outside. We've seen him prefer the outside today, but he passes the one car, Nicholas Shelton, and the onslaught passes, as mentioned, is on. The only thing that might hinder Overland was we haven't seen, as we expected, the absolute dicing, which, as I say that now, they are going side by side in front of Overland, but the
actually, Aaron, sorry, we just saw that's the driver of Alex Bergeron getting very tight off turn 2, as we've seen many drivers get. But of course, lifting out to avoid hitting that wall, he lost a lot of momentum. He's been passed now by Eric Teskey, Kyle Brummett and Derek Bordeaux. So he's got a lot of work on his hands. Yeah, a lot of work. And so it seems every time I mention things are calm, things turn not calm. So that's the one thing at Daytona. It is constantly changing. We can see single file for a dozen laps, and then, well, maybe perhaps Overland is causing this, as these drivers do have spotters that are letting them know what's going on behind them. And when you know you have a driver like Overland coming through the field, well, you do want to be in that lead spot to dictate the race. The leader here really can dictate the pace, as Vermette goes to the outside, now swings to the inside. Oh, wow, I think he may be able to do it, and he's going to have help. And we're going to go 3 wide. No, we're not. Oh, discretion, better part of valor there, Rachel. Absolutely, the 5 car there of Derek Bordeaux, really tempted to take that 3 wide, but instead holds behind Brummett, and they keep the driver of Teskey on the outside on his own, and through will go Kyle Brummett to the lead here of the Daytona 500. Exactly the move he needed to make, and well, now he has led a lap with the big boys.
And will it be more than one? Bordeaux and the 16 of Ryder Smith. Ryder Smith dumps the 5, now goes with our leader. So that right there, that's why I don't really want to call this a chess match. That refers to only 1 versus 1. This is diplomacy at 200 miles an hour. Who are you going to help win? And Ryder Smith right there chose to help the 26 instead of the 5. And, well, that's going to be remembered later on. Bordeaux is going to remember that, I'm sure.
Absolutely is. A lot of long memories here in NASCAR drivers, so
oh, yeah.
They will certainly remember what has happened during this race. And it will be about lap 195 when those memories will pop back to the forefront of their minds, and they will spot the drivers they were involved in. So friendships early on, and keeping those friendships can certainly be advantageous late in a race. Make an enemy in lap 10, and he will certainly remind you of that as you come to the checkered flag. But on the outside, we have a good run now by the 16 car there of Ryder Smith as he heads to the front here, pushed by Overland and Cocker as they are back at the front. It's been, well, 15 laps, just over that, since we came back to green. Well, the number 13 and the number 15 are back at the front of this field. Huge movement by those guys, especially in the tyre saving position. 3 wide for your lead here at Daytona. The 16, the 26 and the 31. Overland doing his best to get the 16 way past this one. We could see a monumental moment here, but 3 wide for the lead. It's only lap 51, guys. Calm down. Getting a little excited there as they all make it through. Even the tight spot off turn number 2. As they are not done. Here comes the 13 of Overland as he will go up the middle, pushing Brummett towards the front. Breaks that 3 wide. Through comes Cocker though as they do it again. These guys aren't done. They're not satisfied to run 2 wide. They are desperate for some racing action behind them. It's the 16, the 2 and the 28 there. Driver of Blake Reynolds getting involved in that one. As we are frantic here. You'd think this is lap 195, Aaron.
Yeah, how long can they maintain this? I know we were talking pre-race. We were expecting a very calm first half of this race, but obviously these drivers didn't get the memo. Putting on a great show here. Still partially 3 wide for second. As Overland now dives and Brummett really working that side draft. Overland now comes down to the inside, now back to the outside. So we're seeing drivers really working all angles, and we've seen you can go from the back to the front. That being so, why on earth are we racing so hard right now?
I have absolutely no idea, Aaron, but well, the 13 car seems to like the front of the field. He's back up towards the sharp end here as Brummett working both lines. As alongside him will come the 13 car. He's not scored as a leader this time by, but he is in second place. We could be seeing him going to lead this time. Will he take Matt Cocker with him? That's been his long-time drafting partner for the entire first quarter of this race, as we are now past the 1 quarter distance mark. 147 laps to go here. Of course, that was a few laps ago, but I forgot, so I mention it now. But there we go. The number 13 of the Menards double clutch Chevrolet goes to the front of your field, and he will secure the lead. He will stay high though. Not high enough though. Matt Cocker holding on as he does keep the line there. Brummett pushing up to try and push him out of line. As Overland stays there high for Matt Cocker. We thought he would work with him. He has. And he will pull the 15 car past your leader of previous laps, 26 of Brummett. This time by Chris Overland and Matt Cocker scored 1, 2, 3 with Ryder Smith there. As we have new positions, your leader last time by, Cal Brummett, drops back to P number 4.
This is the part of the run last time that we saw drivers like Isaac Lynn and Jonathan Goat hit the wall off at turn 2. So for those on the outside, you have to be mindful. And not only that, the cars on the inside that have been running it the entire time really can heat up that right front. As we're going to go side by side for second. That was close to... Oh, Ryder Smith got to the inside of Cockerton. The 15 of Matt didn't really want to give up cede the position, and very close to contact there. That sort of slowed him up, and here comes Brummett, who I think of all the drivers has made the most frantic of moves thus far. And he's on the inside, but nobody to help with.
Absolutely not, as we have high side racing here at the front of your field. Drivers going to the top as they can to try and make advantage. Look after those tyres. We are now looking at about 20 lap mark on our tyres, so we should start seeing guys who've pushed hard really dropping back, and well, we have seen that. Further back in your field, your restart leader was the 28 car of Alex Bergeron. He's back in P number 9. Eric Teskey, who was alongside him, is back in P8, so definitely positions lost for the guys who were at the front early on, who pushed hard, just kept on that low line. Now going backwards in your field. But the front 5 cars all started towards the rear. You have Overland, Cocker, Smith, Reynolds and Shelton. They were running high early on, and this has been a major advantage.
And one thing that we've seen from the drivers that have moved forward, Rachel, you really can't be scary when you make a move. If you hesitate, that hole that was there is gonna close. They say scared money never wins. If you drive hesitancy, if you drive trying to be overly safe, well, that can actually create an incident. We've seen all the drivers in the top 5, top 6, make very bold maneuvers. Your timing has to be perfect. So far, they have been, but the first time somebody makes that move that isn't clear, oh boy, look out.
Absolutely, as your leaders, in fact, the top 5, they're all running high now. The high line here at Daytona, pretty much exclusively, it seems to be the way to run this track. And of course, that's useful information for the likes of Chris Overland and friends, who of course will be running on Tuesday night in the NASCAR Pecan 3 Series here on iRacing Live, brought to you by RaceSpot TV. You can join me, Rachel Whiteford, Evan Pasoko, and Jake Beckett, as we will go on to bring you the first round of the 2016 season for the Peak Antifreeze Series, supported by NASCAR. Of course, you are now watching the top split NASCAR iRacing Series race here on iRacing, and Aaron, anyone can join this. This is not a exclusive club, of course. You have to have the I rating to get into this split of race, but we have over 20 races going on here at the same time. 20 races, 30 cars in each. We're looking at over 600 drivers who are running concurrently in the Daytona 500.
And yeah, for those watching, it is very easy to just get in and run. And the iRacing service has something absolutely for everybody. I mean, if you want to have a race with setups, you can do that. You want to have a race where everybody is running the same configuration.
Oh, sorry, Aaron, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the 8 car, Isaac Gann, hits the wall off turn 2. We saw this in that first run. He's gone all the way to the back. I believe that might have been, yeah, so Isaac Gann again, turn 2, catches him out, and he was running that conservative line. When you get a little bit of damage, Rachel, it can really add to the issues of the right front tire. It can really cook it, so to speak, because you don't have the same downforce as the car was designed to. Meanwhile, Rachel, we have a 7-car breakaway, and if they continue to stay, well, as I say that, we're going to go side by side for second, but we may have had 7 cars be able to break out from the pack a good distance. Very much so, as we see movement really happening there as we push the 16 out of line. That's Ryder Smith. He tried to make a move and it was denied by his current racing friends at the front of this field, as we have Overland, Cocker, and the number 2 car, Blake Reynolds, and Nicholas Shelton Carbon, all on that high side, really trapping that 16 down low. Can make moves on the low side, of course, but we really need to see that as the 26 Brummett hits the wall off 2 again. We've passed Magic Lap 20, and we're starting to see guys getting really tight, having problems keeping that car off the wall. This is something we really need to focus on.
And yes, we do. And looking right now, the gap between, well, it's going to change. The previous lap, it was 1.2 seconds from 7th to 8th. Once you get past about 9/10 of a second, the draft, the effects of it are negated. So I think we are going to be in this thing of having 2 packs per minute. It's going to fall back to that second pack. And if that second pack, they have been fighting tooth and nail for P8, which, Rachel, nobody remembers who finishes 8th. So it's so aggravating as a driver when you're leading that second train. When drivers behind you, as the 30 car touches the wall, 4 car.
Yeah, that was Josh McElmore. McElmore hits the wall off 2 very hard, and he tags the 4 car of Dylan C. Jones. But Jones manages to hold on. Nearly a huge wreck again, but narrowly avoided. This must be like the 8th or 9th car we've seen touching the wall off 2, Aaron. It's huge.
Yeah, the flagman's got that yellow flag ready to go, because right now they're doing everything they can to bring one out. I don't know if the 4 car had contact. That was evasive action. And for Macklemore, well, I think the car's going to be okay. We've seen other cars hit harder. If you hit flush both sides at the same time, the nasty effects of the safer wall really might not be that strong. But, well, as I said that, he's going to lose 1, maybe 2 spots. But meanwhile, up front, we now have a 1.5 second gap between 6th and 7th. So if this has a green flag feel, and this is why I said you have to take positions when you can. If you do get that breakaway, you want to be part of it. You don't want to be back in the back 10 cars that can't figure out who can lead, and you're constantly fighting. Right now, the top 6, oh, they're just having a Saturday afternoon stroll, just loving the gap they're pulling. But meanwhile, behind them, they're fighting tooth and nail, and you can't do that if you want to win here.
You cannot indeed, as we're now completing lap number 32 onto 33 here with your leader Chris Overland once again at the front. Of course, started in the back on that restart. He pitted on the 1 to go, so we know a few cars here, including himself, Matt Cocker, likes of Rob Reed, Nigel de Jong, Jonathan Goke. They can all go a few laps longer than anybody else if this is a green flag run. And with the amount of tyres they've been saving early on, this could last quite a while.
And if you do gain some extra laps, Rachel, the only way that's going to work is if you are in the front. If you can go a few extra laps, the only way that's going to work is if you're up at the front and you can put those cars a lap down. If you are the leader, you can, and a whole pack pits, you can stay on the lead lap. So what you're trying to do by pitting early is a 21 car bounces off the wall in our second pack. So that second pack, that is Ryan Doucette bouncing off the wall off of turn 2. So, while the front 6 have it all settled down, this back pack is playing bumper tag with the wall, and eventually they're not going to get away with it.
No, they will not, as well, the front pack's got enough room now to really run the cleanest line for them, which apparently at the moment is the high line. So, these guys saving tyres, running clean together, they're saving fuel and tyres. This could really be their ticket to decide to finish this race amongst themselves, as it is now 3 seconds back from 6th position there. Is the car of Derek Bordeaux. Yes, it is indeed Derek Bordeaux in the 5 car. He is 3 seconds ahead of Alex Bergeron, who was a previous race leader here today. He's dropped back into a second pack there with Kyle Brummett and the 4 car of Dylan C. Jones. Although Jones making moves forwards, Bergeron there maybe about to get swamped, but he could have the help he needs in the 4. But this second pack seems to be the drivers with minor damage on their cars, just about able to hold on ahead of guys with perhaps a bit more severe damage, Cam, as they're trying to bring these cars home.
Well, it's not just that, as of course these guys are a little bit of a walking wounded, especially with the outside of turn 2, but I have to say in the last couple of laps it looks like the second pack is starting to rein it in, starting to get their stuff together here, though you still have people like Teskey and Brummett fighting for position. And I think that they are finally getting with it, and they're going to start trying to track down this first pack, and they have more cars, so it most certainly should be possible, as the lead pack of Chris Overland will be looking to try and keep stretching that away. But it's just, if that second pack stays in a straight line, they should be able to catch them at some point.
We'll have to find out, but it's 32 laps now on these tyres. This is our restart on lap 34 now. We are heading towards the pit window in about 8-9 laps here for these guys, so tyre wear's become a thing. They are spreading out now in this field. No more too wide racing. Nobody can afford to do that, as we see the field passing by lapped cars. This is really the time where coming to pit road will be a major advantage or disadvantage depending on how good you are at this. Of course, that big gap to the front is a huge advantage for Overland as we come upon more lap traffic for your leaders, in fact, as they're running high, with lapped cars running low. That is the 24 car who was at the front of your field, Joseph Galotta, involved in that early incident. He is down low. Your leaders will pass him on the high side as we come now on to lap number 68. This big gap should be a huge advantage in green flag pit stops, Cam, as the front 5 cars, they could really make a huge advantage for themselves. But will they come together, or will we see smaller groups?
Well, you never know how these guys are going to go. Of course, we've seen Kocher, Reynolds, Shelton, Smith, and Bordeaux. They've all made their own decisions and abandoned each other, as it were, at different times. But they've seemed to be working together very nice. That lap car is, that's the second time for that Ford of Derek Bordeaux. I have to feel bad for him. That's the second time now where a lap car has snuck in on the rear end of this lead lap pack, and Derek has had to bump out to the high side, but he'll get it back up. Yes, it'll all be on what Overland says and does. I imagine if he'll come in, he'll make his intentions clear, and well, I can't see why they wouldn't all come in, but I've been surprised before.
Well, we certainly know that coming in together, Aaron, will be a major issue, because it's quite a challenge pitting here at Daytona on your own, never mind with 6 cars around you or more.
And you do have the speed limit to worry about. You have the brake bias. If you get on the brakes too hard, you can lose the rear. If you lock up, you can blow a tire. So many tricky things as the 24 car is going around the outside. Galotta making moves like they aren't even there. And looking at the score sheet, Galotta's 39 laps down, but getting rather racy, and I mean, it would take that car obviously has the speed, but for those drivers on the lead lap, there is nothing more aggravating than when you have a car a lap down, and they do have every right to be racing. But when you're on the lead lap, you're like, come on, really? You're going to do that? But for Galotta, he is, at this rate, he may get one of his 39 laps back.
Certainly could, and that's something he's got to be very careful about. But, well, being up here is, whilst it's legal as far as NASCAR is concerned, it's certainly
there he
perhaps
goes.
a little, he does, in fact, pass the leader there. He will go ahead of Overland and take his 1 lap back for Joseph Gallotta. 38 laps down now, so yeah, he's just made himself a potential winner at this race, I think. I wouldn't say it's of course it's within the rules to pass the leaders to get your lap back, but when you're nearly 40 laps down, Aaron, is it perhaps respectful to race the leader?
I'd say no. Does he have the right? Yes. Is it sporting? That's where there's a line. Look, right now he's 2 laps in front of the car that's running 29. 27 laps to the car of Isaac Gann, who has retired, so he will get that spot. But one thing we could be seeing, Rachel, is Gallotta may have fresher tires. That could be what we're seeing. And so now he is slowly inching away. So one thing you got to think here is, do you want to run your pits all the way down to fuel, or do you want to come in maybe 5-6 laps early? Because if those tires do equal a couple tenths to a quarter, maybe even a half second on track, do you want a short pit?
I don't think short pitting here is going to be a major issue at all, Aaron, of course, with the gaps these guys have, and really the time loss on pit road, it's better to do this in less pit stops overall. As you can see, the top 6, they've really been saving tyres here, so they are in a pretty good spot, of course. Obviously, they're out front now, they've had the biggest advantage. It's harder to make up room doing an extra stop here at Daytona than any other track. It wouldn't be an advantage to anyone, of course. A caution would neutralize that field, I apologize, and change the situation. But as it stands, the drop-off isn't significant enough to warrant coming in, of course. The 24 car there, he is dropping back now, but
this is
no
where
position.
This is where the respect comes in. When he was faster and just drove by everybody, that's one thing. But when you're then in slicing and dicing through those cars, then maybe Gallotta's finally realized, maybe this isn't the wisest of things I can be doing. So he's going to go to the back as we now see 3rd, 4th, 5th to the inside. Are we going to see pit stops, or is the snake just snaking to the inside? Nope, we're just snaking all around the track now, as Gallotta may finally have lost that lead pack. So when the second pack gets to him, we'll see just exactly how he handles that. But if you're 1 or 2 laps down, you can get it back. 37, he has the skill, he has the talent. Something put him down that many laps. But if you're those top 6, you're like, please just fall in line. We've got a strategy. Just help us.
Absolutely, as we're now approaching quite a significant position in this numbers. We're looking at lap number 74 here, so we hit the 40 lap mark on these tyres. We're soon going to see whether they will come to pit road or they will stay out, as we're starting to see some drivers pitting. The Flandia is pitting. He is only lead lap back in P20. Leader's not coming in this time by. Chris Overland is coming in this time round. I believe we have your leader will be pitting on lap 41 of this run. Lap number 75 here of the total race distance. So this pit stop, if it stays green, this will see us past halfway, Cam.
Yes, it will, and we do have a couple of questions in the YouTube. Is this, how many cautions have we had? We have only had but 1 caution. That came out, probably, lap 32? They went green on lap 35. Yeah, so they should be coming in green flag pit stops to open up, as this will be only their 2nd pit in, as, well, we are just about there, as the whole of the first pack, including the lapped car, will come in. And they take a very,
more
very
cars
smart
too, Cam.
entry.
We have more 31s in, 27, I believe 34, 4, and I think we also see there no, we don't. The 3 of Nigel de Jong has stayed out with Rob Reed. Reed leading a lap here in the Daytona 500, so that's one thing checked off his racing bucket list, as the 14 car goes to the front with the 3 pushing him. Bet those guys to pit next time by, as oh no, it seems that Overland missed his pit stall.
Oh no.
He's had to back up, so he will succeed the lead here of the race, but he will definitely stay in his lead group. We expect he might drop off the back of this. Could be the end of race win for Chris Overland. He has lost a lot of lap time here. He will be on his own. He will come out with the 2nd pack. Overland will come out with your 2nd pack here, so it is not all over. The number 13 double clutch Menard Chevrolet.
Oh, big mistake there, Cam.
Absolutely. I mean, it wasn't even like backing up once. It was backing up twice. The entry was so bad. Like, it's the last pit stall on the left. I don't... You're like, you know, you can understand if you're halfway through and you miss your flagger and you just can't, you know, get in there. But, boy, that was not a hard pit stall to miss, especially here at Daytona. Well, we'll have to see if Chris Overland can grab the banner of the second pack and bring them to his old friends up on the front pack, though. He has got a lot of little groups to pick up here. It's Overland, Michael Moore, and Tyler Grolf, and that is well back. And as they cross the start-finish line, 17th position, Overland. That is a horrid pit stop. He's going to remember that one for a long time, Rachel.
He certainly will, but it's not all over yet because Bobby Cheney, Conor Anton, Nick Northrup, and friends are coming in. Reed and DeYoung have just come off pit road, so your new leader, we'll find out this time by. But it's certainly not P16 for Overland. He'll be back in your, I think, bottom end of your top 10, realistically, is where we're looking at seeing him come out of the pits. So we will find out exactly what position that is in a moment's time as we come through. But, well, this is what we were saying, Cam. This highlights just how important making sure you get that pit stop complete is for these guys when literally tenths of seconds matter. Being so far back in position is a huge problem for these drivers, as they are doing everything they can to stay together, stay at the front, and a mistake like that will cost you a win here, can cost you a win. Of course, we don't go to plate tracks very often. We only go to 4 a year, which means drivers less practiced here than they are at other tracks. And of course, pit road speeds are much faster because the track is bigger, 60 miles an hour here, which is on average about 20 miles an hour faster than these drivers are used to. So as they come down pit road, they're approaching quicker, so the braking distance is bigger.
Yes, the whole of the pit lane sequence, it shouldn't be too crazy here at Daytona. We'll visit many more tracks in the Peak Grand Prix series that do have a much more difficult entry. This one's a relatively forgiving one, but it's since it's so unforgiving, the actual skill involved has to be so precise, so on the button. Otherwise, you do lose that position. I mean, look at where Overland is. He's 7 seconds off of the leader, and that was just in a pit stop cycle. He should be up there with Matt Coulter and Shelton Reynolds and Bordeaux, who he all came with, as well as Smith and Jonathan Goke. He's now officially going the lap down. I have to point it out to him. He
took out the commitment cone on entry.
Rest in peace,
I saw that one in the back wire in the background. I saw the cone somersaulting through the air, and but yes, so just the whole of the pit stop sequence can influence so very much. We'll have to see what Overland can do as he has cleared the 3 cars that he came out with. But the problem is, you're not going to get anywhere unless you've got some draft partners. So hopefully he can gather them up, Josh Michael Moore and Tyler Grolf and Chris Overland, and they can probably try and get to the rear end of Nigel DeJong and Rob Reed, who I have to say, probably the two of them, some of the only international drivers here in the Daytona 500.
Quite a few international drivers in this session, of course. NASCAR might be predominantly American sport, but of course here on iRacing we have an international cast of stars. From the highs of the Peak Grand Prix Series and the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, of course, you do see drivers from every nation taking part in the simulation here at iRacing.com. This means everybody can do exactly what they want. It's all the internet, everyone can go anywhere. But speaking of going anywhere, we're going to be right back because we're going to go to a quick commercial break here. Now the pit cycle is complete. Join us after the break as we head towards the halfway point in the Daytona 500.
Welcome back to the Daytona 500 here on iRacing. It is, of course, here on iRacing Live. It's Race Spot Television's Cam Walsh, Rachel Whiteford, Hugo Louie, and Aaron Likens bringing you the coverage, the whole package of the whole race here. And, of course, Daytona 500. It's such a legendary event. Currently being led right now, Matt Coulter, Nicholas Shelton, Blake Reynolds, Derek Bodeau, and Ryder Smith are your top five, with them being a full front pack. In the second pack, it's now Eric Teskey, Dylan C. Jones, Rob Reed, Nigel DeJong, Alex Bergeron, and Jason Miller. Those are your top packs going all the way back to 11th position. We've just gotten done with green flag pit stops, the first green flag pit stops we've had of the race, and the biggest loser out of that one, Chris Overland. He had to back into his pit stall 2 or 3 times. He has now fallen well off the pace. He's 11 seconds off the leaders. Aaron, most of the teams, most of the packs seem to be trying to go finding the right lines and the right grips. It's almost mesmerizing to watch these cars switch between the high line and the low line on a lap-by-lap basis.
The top 4 are perfect, or top 5, they're loving this. Right now, the most intense battle on the racetrack is actually for 21st. The lucky dog position between Logan Sheets, who must have had a pit issue, Jonathan Goku decided the commitment cone had to be moved, and that's an illegal pit entry, and Ryan Dessette, who was up front. All 3 of those cars were capable of winning this race, but they're all 1 lap down. And you want to be the first car lap down, because should the yellow hanky fly, well, you're going to get that free pass. So right now, that's a very intense battle. Logan Sheets got swallowed up about 2 laps ago, but going back to Overland, his pit issue, the last thing you want to do at Daytona is practice your parallel parking skills. So that set him back, and he is losing time. That front 5 cars, they're perfectly content. If we stay green the rest of the way, you are not going to see any movement out of them until the final 10 laps of even that far back. They're going to want this thing to play out green all the way to the end, because right now they're all but guaranteed a top 5, but 1 yellow, throw everything out the window.
Oh, absolutely. All of the strategies and the frailties of the plans in action will certainly be changed. I have to say, some people are really hoping that we do get a caution, so Joseph Gulota, the number 24 car, will get his lap back. Folks, I hate to inform you, he's 39 laps down, all right? And I think it's pretty safe to say that unless something extraordinarily terrible happens, then he's just out here for fun, and fun he is having. But yes, between Jonathan Goka, of which my beverage is sponsored by, and Logan Sheets, in that...
Kyle Brummett going a lap down, Cam. So another one of our...
What happened to Kyle Brummett? Something... I know he had tapped the wall. Perhaps he wanted to get some repairs done during the green flag pit stop, but I was expecting him to be much further up there.
You got to think pit stop penalty, just a 15-second penalty. The thing is, they're almost doing a football field a second, so that's why Overland's so far back, even though it was just 4 seconds. Think about that, about 400 yards, almost a quarter of a mile. So just a small mistake on pit road. I mean, yeah, the spectacle 200 miles an hour, 3 wide, but if you lose 1 or 2 seconds in the pits, just try to visualize an entire football field. That's how much just the smallest mistakes on pit road can cost you. And then you don't have anybody to work with, you don't have a dance partner, you're left out to dry, and then next thing you know, you're a lap down.
Yes, and with Chris Overland, he's got Josh Michaelmore and Tyler Groff. His last lap was a 44.680, whereas Matt Coach's was a 44.60. So even then, he is not able to gain anything on the front pack. But I have to say, who is gaining on the front pack? That second pack that we constantly reference as fighting, Aaron, well, they are coming on, and they are coming on strong. They have gained almost half a second in the last lap, and as they come by the starter stand this time by, it's Eric Teskey does a .65. Catchler got him back, but that second pack seems to have gathered up their ponies, and they are trying to march to the front, Aaron.
One thing that is going to help that second pack is if these cars that are 1 lap down start fighting. what is a 10-car pack. We do have a 10-car lead pack with lappers intermingled in the mix, but if the lap cars start battling for that lucky dog spot, that can make that 10-car train a 5-car train, and of course the more ponies, as you mentioned, you have lined up, the faster the pony train goes. So right now, Jonathan Gokart in race reporter, which if we don't have another caution, we're not going to be able to get any input with him or ask him what he had against the commitment cone. But right now, Logan Sheets wants that 20th spot, because right now, outside the race lead, the most important spot on the racetrack is the battle for 20th.
Absolutely, that's an exciting battle in itself. And for those of you playing at home in America, it is Toyota, Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Chevy, Chevy, and then Toyota. So I don't know what happened to all the Fords. Aaron, I have to say I'm very disappointed, other than my money's got to be on Derek Bordeaux. He is really the only front runner trying to bring that blue oval to the victory. But I have to say, though, this front four pack, this is where they started. I mean, Matt Kochler started in 24th. He's leading. Nicholas Shelton started in 9th, and Blake Reynolds started in 14th. I mean, cars that you wouldn't have even seen in the start, they are now leading this race and putting their stamp in as we're almost halfway.
And that shows you one starting position at Daytona. Well, it is 500 miles. Doesn't really mean all that much, but playing the strategy game just right can break you out front. Having that perfect pit stop and having those around you. You can't have too good of a pit stop where if you get a 2-second lead, well, yeah, that's great, but the people that had the same amount of time are going to catch you, and they're going to be doing 10 miles an hour faster when they overlap you. But, the top 5, they are loving this right now. Anytime you're at Daytona and you're up front in the lead pack in contention to win, you're loving it, especially that you don't have the 2 and 3 wide racing. Are we going to see that? Oh, you bet we are. But right now they're content. Finally, they realize there's no prize for leading lap 95.
No, but some people might like that. I have to say, though, Nicholas Shelton, he might not be wanting to lead lap 95, but he looks like he is interested in leading lap 96. As Nicholas Shelton has now, for the second time now, gotten a great run, and he looked at it once or twice before, but I almost have to say I would probably want to be sitting in second position, as Matt Kochler is probably going to be burning a lot more fuel than Shelton, who is behind him.
Yes, and it's never too early to start talking about the fuel mileage, but right now, I don't know if I think everybody's going to have to make the same amount of stops. I don't see anybody. We're too far away from the pit window of, let's say, lap 160 is our magic mark. We're a bit far to get to that point.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. Our last pit stops weren't that long ago, but Rachel, just as this pack is just pulling away, I have to say Matt Kochler was another 44.8. Eric Teskey, well, he's got a 44.9. That second pack was coming on strong, but after picking up those lap cars, Coulter's pack just seems to be pulling away now, as they've got a full 9-car pack.
They certainly do, Cam. Of course, we do have in that lead pack, we have the number 6 car of Jonathan Goke. We have the 7 of Logan Sheets, also a lap down. 24 car there of Joseph Galotta, also a lap down as well. So quite a few cars, including Ryan Deschette and Kyle Brummett, all lap down, which is surprising. They've been running the front all race, so it's unfortunate to see them that far back. But Goke and Sheet are racing pretty hard at the moment. But it's interesting to see what's going on here. See, these guys could get back on that lead lap. They're only 1 lap down, so that's Goke, Sheet, Deschette and Brummett. They are able to get back on that lead lap if we have a couple of quick cautions. So, of course, it's time to see exactly what they can do as the leaders come upon another lap car. That is, in fact, the car there of the number 10. That is, of course, Bill Brown. He was leading at one point, so how far they fall. 3 laps down he is at the moment. One of your wall recipients. That's not a prize, but we rather want to avoid, in fact, as we head on to lap 99 now. He'll be leader at lap 100. It's looking like Matt Cocker at the moment. He's in a good position. He's got a strong car. Of course, he came back to the front after our earlier caution, with the driver of Chris Overland in the number 13. But Overland, he's back in P12. He's 7 seconds back from Miller in P11, and that's still 15 seconds behind your leaders. Overland needs a caution now to put himself in any more contention. Without cautions, it's a long, long road, and 15 seconds on an oval track is very difficult to make up. Almost a quarter of a lap back from your race leaders. But as now we come on lap 99, heading on to lap 100. Who will be the leader at the end of this lap? Looking like Cocker. Shelton, can he do anything in that number 1 car, the Subway Toyota there? Behind him, the 2 of Blake Reynolds.
Delicious.
Derek Bordeaux in the number 5 car, and Ryder Smith in the 16. They really are your lead group there. Teskey in the 31, Rob Reed in the 14. He's actually a bit back from Teskey. He's about 7 seconds back from your lead group. He's there with Teskey actually, and Ryder Smith 7 seconds up the road with that lead group. So 2 real groups here in formation. We have the group there of Teskey, we have Reed, De Jong, Jones, Bergeron, Miller. Then we have Overland leading that group of 5-6 cars there. Himself, Mickelmore, Groff, Anton, Gainey, and Northrup. But it will be Matt Cocker who will lead lap 100. There is actually a prize for that in the real Daytona 500. So Matt Cocker, he's the leader on lap 100 at the halfway point here in the iRacing NASCAR iRacing Series Daytona 500 here on iRacing Live, brought to you by Race Spot TV. It's it's halfway. Let's have our halfway report. So far, we'll run through your top 10. It's Matt Cocker, Nicholas Shelton, Nick Reynolds, Derek Bordeaux, Ryder Smith, Eric Teskey, Rob Reed, Nigel de Jong, Dylan C. Jones, and Alex Bergeron rounding out your top 10. We've had a number of recipients of the Wall Prize so far. They include, not exclusively, Jonathan Goke, Logan Sheets, Ryan Duchette, Kyle Brummett, Bill Brown. We had some incidents involving drivers like Joseph Gallotta early on, guys. Of course, the 24 car who's been racing pretty hard with your leaders. And, of course, we've had incidents involving Isaac Gann, Rizzy, Brown, and Foley. With 2 cautions so far, so it's been one incident that didn't bring out a caution. And we've had 1 actual yellow flag so far. It's really shaken things up. We saw the likes of Chris Overland and Matt Cocker run to the front of your field from the back off that restart on lap 34. But, of course, Overland on the green flag pit stops on lap number 75.
There he goes.
He had a wobble and, well, it cost him everything. He actually missed his pit box. Now he is back. But Cocker going backwards in your field now. So he's had a moment there, Cam.
Well, I think what had finally happened is Shelton had finally decided that enough was enough. He got Coulter. I don't think he got Coulter loose, but he most certainly didn't help. But Coulter just started tracking up and up and up and up. And finally, he just had to completely let go, and Shelton had to jump ship with the rest of the pack. And now it is that extraordinarily green Nicholas Shelton car going to be leading with the Blake Reynolds, which is the Icy Mobile.
Certainly is, and well, Blake Reynolds there running in P2, Shelton in P1 as we catch. I believe that's the driver of Massimiliano Rizzi. No, it's not. It's actually Francesco Rizzi. We have 2 Rizzis in this race, but
yes, we do.
Having different paint schemes. It's Rizzi busy, you could say, as I bring out another bad pun here on Race Sport TV. My specialty, as that car stays on the high side, despite the fact the drivers seem to want the high side there. So the number 13 car, 23 car, I apologize, staying high, which is not exactly what you need approaching the corner at a track where you really want to be running that high side in turn 1 and 2, Cam.
Well, they're starting to figure out. Everyone's starting to figure out the lines, exactly what's working in the draft, where you can do tons of practice. You can do some work on what you plan on doing, what you might want to do as far as the overall strategy goes. But until you get surrounded by this many cars, there's only so much you can do. And Shelton in that Toyota, with Blake Reynolds in the Chevrolet and Bordeaux and the Ford, as Ryder Smith is even looking to get interested in push his way to the top 3. But I have to say, though, 3 manufacturers, well, they're running to the top today.
Yes, they certainly are, and of course, this lead pack really is breaking away from everybody. They're now 16 seconds away from Overland, who had been your previous race leader and pole sitter today. A group involving multiple lap down cars and lead cars, so it's certainly a big gap that's formed. We really need a caution at some point soon if they have any chance of being involved in this one. But we know several cars there will be getting laps back if they can stay in this position, so all going well. Of course, expecting the likes of Sheets and Goat to try and push their way to the front, get past that leader, so if we do get a caution, they are back on your lead lap. As Nicholas Shelton leads laps here at Daytona, lap 106, as we are heading through towards another pit cycle. Of course, our last pit stop for these drivers under green was on lap 76. So realistically, we're looking at lap 116, so another 10 laps, Cam, and we'll be in a position to head down pit road again.
Yes, and hopefully this time, well, you'll never know what'll happen then. We did see during the truck race last night quite a rather hefty incident going into the pit lane. A bunch of trucks just all tried to go to pits, and well, it just didn't work out for them, as the number 16 of Ryder Smith will go down to the inside line, as the Derek Bordeaux once again will just hold the high line. I think that's what's working right now. But yes, so if we have to go into pits again, we'll have to see who might be who might be the one to fall into that overland issue. Hopefully we won't see that, but well, if we do, I'm sure someone else will be ready to take the banner and the lead of the Daytona 500.
Absolutely, and at the moment this race is playing out in a very calm, measured manner. We've had one caution so far, a couple of minor incidents that did bring out that caution flag, but as it stands, drivers have been very well behaved and kind-tempered to each other, so expecting a good long session of green flag runs here, Aaron. This draft model and the time model certainly has got to a point where these guys have got things figured. We're seeing drivers really running that high side in most of the lap, and everyone's being very forgiving.
And almost too forgiving. I've been keeping my eye on the battle for P20, which for me is the most intriguing battle on the racetrack, because that is the battle for the lucky dog. When the yellow comes out, first car a lap down gets their lap back. And I'm really puzzled why Logan Sheets has not tried anything to get around Jonathan Goat. Right now, as there's really, yeah, they're gaining time, I guess, on track to P19-18 if they should come a lap down, but you want to be in that lead spot, or get your lap back the old-fashioned way. Try to pass the leaders, but they've been content. They run 5-6 in line with the leaders, but they're one entire lap back, and should the yellow fly, whichever one of the two of them, and you also have Kyle Burnett, who had an issue. He's back there as well. Ryan Cassette also, he's in the back of this train, as Burnett's actually lost the lead group, but I'm trying, maybe Rachel Cam, what is Logan Sheets gaining by making no attempt to try to get that position to be in line for the free pass?
Well, it could be that Logan Sheets really hasn't got the tyres left at the moment, Aaron. Of course, we are 30 laps into this run, heading towards our pit stop, so it could be that Sheets is hoping to make a better run on pit road here under green to make that pass on the driver, Jonathan Goat. Of course, 30 laps in, single file racing, really not much tyres left to go low and actually make a pass complete, so it could be that he's just doing his best to stay here in the right position. If we have one caution, and that gives Goat the lucky dog, there's every chance he can get the next one, and we'll be seeing exactly what that could do for them. But of course, green flag pit stops is also a time when we can see cautions happening, heading onto pit road, heading off pit road, so as it stands, these drivers are being patient. They know there's a long way to go, plenty of opportunity to get those laps back, especially if they have a very good stop here. They could find themselves out ahead of your leader, so they could actually end up being back on your lead lap on their own right. So this could be a good position to be in, and if I was a lap down, I'd be waiting here myself. But as it stands, Nicholas Shelton on lap 110, we're about 6 laps, we think, maybe a little more away from green flag pit stops, so this could be an interesting run for them. These drivers, of course, running single file, they're probably going to extend this field a little bit more, as a number of them have led. Cocker, of course, has dropped off a lot here. He's back down in P5, leading for a long time. He's now back at the rear end of your 5-car lead train. Rob Reed leading a 3-car pack behind that of himself. Nigel de Jong and Eric Teskey, they're running P7, 8, and 6, 7, and 8. Dylan Jones in P9, he's leading Jason K. Miller, Alex Bergeron, and the 10-car there laps down. That is Bill Brown, he's 6 laps down. As behind him, well, nobody else. He's really running in the last, should we say, recoverable position should there be a lot of cautions, but not looking like we'll get 6 more cautions in the next 100 laps. But we do have those 4-5 cars 1 lap down. That is Benjamin Troflandia. That is Kyle Brummett. That is Ryan Duchette, Logan Sheets, and Jonathan Goke. And the Goke Sheets battle there is really what we're paying attention to a lot at the moment. They are in that lead group of 5 cars heading to the draft. They're so they're really helping that group pull away as things stand. And we'll see if they have a fight here. As looking like they're dropping back a little from the 16 of Ryder Smith. Could we start to see a move from that is the driver of Logan Sheets in the next couple of laps, Cam?
Well, you very well might be able to, but I have to think, I've been looking over this field, I think Logan Sheets is the one that has a little bit of front-end damage. That might be why he hasn't been able to push on Goke, but here he'll go on the inside line. Just as I say that, he does have help from Matt Kocher in 5th position, though. Matt Kocher, who had fallen well back, he will push Sheets up front. And, of course, it would be the cruelest of fates for there to be a caution now, as Goke was just sitting back there, but... well, they seem to have picked up another lap car of Calvin Allison, and, well, actually, now, as the leaders have gone by, now Calvin Allison's going to be the final car, or the first car on the 1 lap down, so Sheets and Goke, if they want a chance at it, they're going to have to push.
And it seems like they are doing. Logan Sheets, they're closing it right behind the 18 of Calvin Allison as he is riding there in P18, 1 lap down. He is the lucky dog, as Cam alluded to, as we now approach 3 or 4 laps before pit stops. Will Sheets try and make a move here? Will he be expecting a caution around green flag stops? Overland is sitting back, of course. He made a mistake last time we came to green flag stops. He's in P12, leading a 6-car train there himself. The 12 of Connor Anton, Bobby Cheney, Nick Northrup, Josh Micklemore, and Tyler Groff. In fact, they are the last cars in your lead lap, and they are about half to a third of a lap behind your race leader, Nicholas Shelton. We'll soon be seeing whether they head to pit, as we're now on looking at maybe 120, Ryder Smith might be alluding to.
And if they do make it to 120, that means we will be in the territory of just 1 more stop. A little bit further than what we initially thought, so if they can make it there, we're looking at about lap 156 to 159, to where if you pit there, you'd be able to stretch it to the end.
Absolutely, and of course, the tyres will be very, very old, but we'll soon find out whether that can actually be in effect here, but it's certainly going to be interesting to see what these guys can do.
And as the tires wear out, we now have what was a 6-car train. Well, Matt's now about 1 second behind, and with these lappers, if he isn't overly careful, he has Jonathan Goke, who's fallen about 20 lengths behind him. So if you get too far back, you can lose the lead pack. So what was a 5-car lead train may dwindle down to 4.
Certainly good. It looks as though Jonathan Goke's tyres really have dropped off here.
And remember,
he did forced to go low as we see the car down ahead of him.
He did have contact with the wall earlier in the race, so as you mentioned earlier, you can hang in the draft, but if you get by yourself or fall a little bit further behind, you aren't going to have the same ability to suck up to the cars in front, and I think that's what we're seeing with Goke.
It certainly seems that way as the field, of course, trying there to pass the number 23 car there of Rizzi once again. Francesco Rizzi sitting down in P25 as he tries to hook up with Jonathan Goke there to see if Goke's tyres have really dropped off, and he won't be able to hold with him as we're now looking at lap 116. So the pit window really is open here. Of course, we are expecting that to be a 2-stop if you come in now. Can these drivers take this to 120? Can they make it an easy 1-stop to the end? We've seen Jason K. Miller jump. He's coming in now. He's back in P10, so this is realistically looking like a 2-stopper for this back group. The leaders perhaps stretching it a little too far. What will the effect of this be, Cam?
Well, we'll certainly find out here. They'll go past as I think there are a couple of cars that are just leaving the pit lane, a couple of lapped cars. Kyle Brookman, I believe, Alex Bergeron, I believe, had pitted. So we'll have to see what exactly the plan is. Bobby Cheney, Tyler Groff, Josh Michaelmore, Nick Rutherford, Connor Anton, and Chris Overland are in the pit. So Overland coming in, so I'm sure next time by is Eric Teskey, and the rest of that whole second field has come in down to pits. We'll have to see also Overland. Well, he's pulled into his pit stall. Looks a little too close to the inside wall, but you know what? He should be okay. They should be able to get that car jacked up and the tires on. Yes, they do. So we'll have to see where Overland comes out as he'll pull away. Ooh, so close to that wall. Well, he'll find himself ahead of Connor Anton. But we'll have to see our leaders, Rachel, whether they are coming in or not. Yes, they are.
They are.
Leaders are coming in early, so it's not going to be 120 for them. It's like 119, though, so it's possibly enough for your leaders. This should be enough, as we see Nicholas Shelton in his box. He is pitting here under green, along with the rest of the lead pack himself. Derek Bordeaux, Blake Reynolds, Ryder Smith, Matt Cocker, as we see what happens to them as he is away and down. But being passed, it seems, by the 2 car. No, he will still have the lead there once this cycles back, we expect, as Blake Reynolds gets a great stop there on lap 119. So we still think this is a one-stop territory, guys. This is within reach here of your leaders. Not sure coming in earlier was possible, but, well, we could still expect a caution or two. But this field's so spread out now, really looking less and less likely.
Less likely, yes, and if we are going to get one, it's probably, I would say, it's going to be in the last 10 laps when the front, well, we may have a 2-car breakaway here. Belton and Reynolds, great on and off. Derek Bordeaux made up some time, but our front pack's going to be a little choppy, but I think the front 2 is not going to have enough steam, only having 2 cars, that I do think we are going to really get the train back together.
Yeah, it's not only that. I have to say, looking at where Chris Overland's position was, they do have 80 laps to go, and Chris Overland has got a mammoth train behind him. He has got 5 cars that are all front-running lead lap cars that are not damaged, so they are going to be able to get that speed going, and that front pack has really been shattered. So well, we'll have to see. They're about half a racetrack away, but it's just if they can work themselves up and together before the other pack does, though it does have to look, I have to say, Blake Reynolds is looking to possibly go on the inside, but well, this front pack seemed to have rejoined a lot better than I thought they would. I thought the pit stop times were all across, but boy, that was a close one, I have to say, but I think if these guys can keep it together, I don't think that second pack will catch them now.
Overland gained 1.3 seconds that time. He's running P11. He went from 15.1 to 13.7 seconds behind, and he has just under 200 miles. And if any driver, we've seen the moves he's been able to make, if any driver in the field can make up that time, all drivers, as Overland comes up to overtake him, he's going to have another group in front of him, which they've got about 5 cars in that train. I think strategy-wise, I wouldn't put up too much of a fight. Let Overland go and let him lead the charge to take down the leaders.
He certainly is, and he's actually about to make a pass for P number 10 here on the racetrack. Rob Reed with a poor pit stop last time by, and that left him on his own. We talked about that during earlier laps, that making that sure that stop was good and you came out with friends was a huge advantage. Rob Reed, he made a mistake. He's been out alone now. He's trying to hook onto this group with Overland, as he might do that here. In fact, we believe he has hooked on with that group, but well, Overland back inside your top 10. He's actually made a huge gain. He was, at the end of the last run, 16 seconds behind Nicholas Shelton, your race leader. He's now 13.7 seconds, so that train is moving well. And of course, back to the pit stops for this second group, Cam. They have caught up a lot of time, and well, 13 seconds, while it's not, we don't think, catchable over a run, although your leaders will have to run a little bit longer than they thought, so potentially may have to run a bit off on fuel. So we're expecting Chris Overland could make up time here, or are we really needing a caution for these guys to get back involved in the race lead?
I have a feeling, obviously, the caution's the most efficient way of getting back up there, is Nicholas Shelton, Blake Reynolds, Derek Bordeaux, and Matt Kocher are all well and together, though I have to say their group is not as hooked up, per se, as this second group. Well, even third group is actually, Alex Bergeron is now leading a second group of cars, but mostly lapped cars of Kyle Bromet and a couple of other cars, but it's just a matter of who's going to be able to work together now to just punch that hole through the air and try to work their ways up already. As well, they're hitting 204, 205 miles an hour here at the Daytona International Speedway, which anytime you can say that, I have to say, is a good time indeed.
It certainly is. Well, we've had the pit cycle is wound round now. We're going to run through your top 10 here so far as we are running now lap 124. Coming to 125, and we'll have 75 laps left to go in the great American race. As it's Nicholas Shelton out front leading, and he has been for the last 30-40 laps. Blake Reynolds in P2, Derek Bordeaux in P3, Matt Cocker, Ryder Smith, Alex Bergeron, Dylan C. Jones, Jason K. Miller, Eric Teskey, and finally back in your top 10, Chris Overland. Although now we have to warn you because the leaders are catching a group of lapped down cars, or were, actually, so it's Overland's group is catching a group of cars. That is the drivers there of Eric Teskey, Jason Miller, Dylan C. Jones, and Alex Bergeron. So we could be looking here at a potential for those guys to make some big positions up, Cam.
Yes, we very well could. Now these cars, a lot of them are kind of on their own, so they're just hopefully going to just move along and slip out of the way and allow them to, they're going to get a little higher speed just by nature of coming up upon them, but hopefully these cars are fighting for 23rd, 27th, 22nd position. They will all stay clear of the way as, oh, there we go, Calvin Allison will pull up there as they will all politely move out of the faster line as Chris Overland is leading this charge, earmarked by the two. What color yellow would you presume that is, Rachel? You seem to be the one that knows can identify colors between Rob Reed and Chris Overland's cars. That was certainly a highlight yellow.
Well, it's a very, very yellow. In fact, I'd probably say it's the Menards yellow. In fact, as that is Chris Overland's sponsor, Cam, in the NASCAR Big Antifreeze Series. And don't forget, folks, you can catch that on Tuesday, where you'll see this very car running not 13:47 in NASCAR's officially sanctioned Peak Antifreeze Series as we get the racing season underway on these very same high banks here at Daytona. As, of course, we are looking now at a great run forming for this pack, led by Chris Overland as they start to catch just 3 seconds up the road the P drivers from P6 upwards. So we could be looking at reforming that top 10 pack. And well, once we get a bigger pack of cars together, we have a lot more excitement going on, Aaron.
Yes, and you got 5 drivers that want this race to go green the rest of the way, but about every other car in the field is hoping that the yellow flies. Now, of course, when you wish for a caution, so often as fate would have it, you become the caution. But right now, Shelton, Reynolds, Bordeaux, Cocker, and Smith, they want this thing to play out all the way to the end, settle it out among themselves. But for everybody else right now, they're thinking, okay, somebody else, make an aggressive move, do something, anything, make a mistake. And of course, you don't want to be that driver, but oh, for everybody 6th on back, any car in the lead lap right now can win this race, but by twist of fate, missing a pit stall, parallel parking, just not in it, but 1 yellow, and this race will be turned upside down.
Absolutely, 1 caution, and that changes absolutely everything, as we see exactly what can happen here on the racetrack, and certainly going to shake things up if we do. We said earlier, cautions breed cautions. Well, the last one didn't. The last caution led to, well, our longest green flag run of the race so far. It's been nearly 100 laps, and we're expecting to see the race potentially could go green the whole way here. But let's say a lot of this field really are desperately waiting for one. I'm hoping it does not involve them, Cam.
Well, certainly you'd hate to have your race ruined, especially this far along. We're running a 1 lap 30. We've only got 70 laps to go here at Daytona 500, the Daytona 500. Of course, just calling it Daytona 500 is a little strange. But we've only got 70 to go. Where has the time gone? It certainly hasn't felt like it. Watching this race, I have to say, but Nicholas Shelton, though, he's got to start feeling pretty, I don't know if confidence is the right word. I think he knows that he's kind of the lame duck leader right now, where at any corner, Blake Reynolds will go on the inside and Derek Bordeaux could go on the outside, but you'll have to see how these guys all work together and see exactly what they can do. If they start doing that, though, that second pack, which is just 11 seconds down the road, might certainly catch them up. So I don't think we're going to be seeing that anytime soon.
Well, the interesting side of this one, Cam, of course, is that we are seeing P6 through 9 being caught by P10 through 15. So realistically here, we could be looking at forming a very large group which in the region of 10 cars will probably make big gains on your leaders up at front. Of course, we have 5 cars. That is Shelton, Reynolds, Bordeaux, Cocker and Smith. They are on their own, apart from a couple of lap cars. That is the drivers of Sheets and Rizzi. So, of course, making a big gap at the front there. But, well, not many of them at the moment. So could this big pack behind them catch up? Could they really affect this outcome without a caution? Oh, we know they're all dying for one, but I guess we hope it didn't happen, because cautions end up just causing more cautions. But as it stands, this race certainly looking like it's having a very good green flag feel. Lap 132 here, as we actually have, in 2 laps, we'll reach the 100 laps green mark. So quite a good race at this state. In fact, the last couple of runs, Aaron and Cam, we haven't seen nearly as many drivers hitting the walls off turn 2. It seems as though all the drivers have really figured this place out.
It's when you see your competitors fall by the wayside in the same spot, drivers very quickly understand where they can and cannot go. So very quickly to learn where the trouble spot is. And for those that didn't learn, well, they aren't in the race anymore.
Absolutely not. Of course, we have some drivers still in the race. Well, they might be a lap down, but they are still running here, as it's Nigel de Jong, Logan Sheets, Kyle Brummett, Ryan Duchette, Jonathan Goke, Calvin Allison and Benjamin Traflandia, all of which have hit the wall at some point. They're all a lap down, so 1 or 2 cautions could completely change the complexity of this race for those drivers. Cam, if we were to get a caution now, of course, Nigel de Jong would be the recipient of the free pass. Do you think that any of the drivers like Goke or Brummett, Duchette, Traflandia, Allison, would they weave around, try and gamble on a second quick caution, put them back on the lead lap, or would they pit?
Well, I'm not quite sure. I think it depends on what the situations around go pertain to. I mean, if we have a caution, well, we have 16 cars on the lead lap right now, so that'd be 16 cars nose to tail. And it really depends on where they are on the actual stops themselves. I think probably if you're planning on there being multiple, you pit that first time, you get yourself all set as far as a fuel numbers game goes. You'll get that all set, and then after that, once you know you're good on fuel, sure, I'd go for it if there was another caution.
Rachel, if I had more than 10 laps of fuel, I am taking the gamble. We've seen the longer the run goes, the less passing. So the odds of a yellow in the first 10 laps, especially as we reach almost the latter quarter of this race, if I have 10 laps of fuel, I'm going to take that gamble. This is the Daytona 500, and if you're a lap down, you do not have a chance at it.
Absolutely not, and you have to be in it to win it. Right now, the only drivers really in this one are your lead pack there, as it's Shelton, Reynolds, Bordeaux, Cocker and Smith.
Lead change.
We have a lead change as we say
Reynolds.
it. In fact, it is Reynolds going to the point, as Blake Reynolds will now be out front here at Daytona and will lead a lap. In fact, we believe it's his first lap. He qualified in 14th. In fact, most of these drivers, we have a caution on the racetrack. This has changed everything, folks. We'll get a replay for you of exactly
Jason
what has
Miller's
happened.
Involved, so
And Francesco Rizzi
Brummett's
could
off
be
the
involved in
track.
this.
Brummett
Kyle
caused it.
Brummett.
Well, there was 3 or 4 cars involved. Okay.
Yes,
Turn 2
this
wall.
changes everything. We're getting a replay for you now, and the wall in turn 2 strikes again. As Kyle Brummett runs up the track, clips the wall, comes down and hits the 4 car, but actually ends up coming, no, contact between the 4 there and the 27 car. So that's the car of Jason K. Miller, who was on the lead lap. All those drivers were, nearly apart from Kyle Brummett, and they have a wreck. Going off the track onto the tri-oval, 3 cars hit, actually across the bus stop using the road Daytona 24, and head back up the racing surface. So
Jason Miller.
that has
nothing
brought
to do.
out our caution. Jason Miller, a complete victim and passenger in that incident. But Cam, this has changed the whole complexity of this race. Nigel de Jong, of course, on the lead lap. If you're Logan Sheets, if you're Ryan Duchette, Jonathan Goke, is it time to roll the dice?
Well, it's, I don't know. I'd get the fuel topped up. Now. Like I said, we're going to have 16 cars nose to tail when this lead starts. Blake Reynolds, Nicholas Shelton, of course. I'm sure everyone will be coming in, as pace car will be the one that stays out. And, well, actually, Nigel de Jong is going to stay out. Logan Sheets are going to stay out. Ryan
they can't
Doucette.
pit.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Lap cars can't pit at the same time. As silly rules. But yeah, so they'll take the wave around for right now. But boy, this is just going to be a very, very interesting. I'd say 10-15 laps. I have to say. Well, this is where all of the decision making is going to be paying off.
Of course, we won't know yet whether the likes of Logan Sheets, Ryan Deshette, Jonathan Goke, Benjamin Traflandia, and Calvin Allison will take the wave round or not. Of course, we could see them come into pit this time by themselves, but we do know, no matter what happens here, we are still one pit stop away from the end. So in fact, if you stayed out now as a lap down car and waved past the leaders, this would not affect your race too much. You'll be back on the lead lap. You might be a little slower initially, but at the same time, everyone would have to pit, and you have the opportunity with another caution of catching up. So realistically, I think, guys, the option here is to stay out and to wave around as a lap down car. This puts you back in contention regarding what happens later on in the race, as we'll soon find out. But coming out of pit road, it is definitely Blake Reynolds ahead of Nicholas Shelton. He will hold the lead here, as behind him it is Cocker, Bordeaux and Smith, still your lead 5. But this has been the real ointment that was needed by Alex Bergeron, Eric Teskey, Chris Overland, Connor Anton, Bobby Cheney and Rob Reed. They are now back with your leaders. And once again, we have a serious race on our hands.
And for Overland, he's got a lot of... He's been sitting there for an hour, waiting for the yellow to fly. He gets it. He'll be in contention. Moment of truth for our lap cars. Wave around or not. Goke gonna come in. Doucette and Sheets, they're gonna take the wave around. So a split strategy, but I gotta say, you gotta gamble there. You still have 23 laps of fuel. Everybody has to make one more stop. And I think we're going to see three-wide racing as everybody knows they want to be in that front 5, front 6. Positioning now, going to be important. I would have taken the gamble.
Yes, and
absolutely, very unusual call here, Cam.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Goke. He did not kill the pit cone this time, so that was a good job. But for the second time he has pitted now, he has had to reverse back into his stall. So not having a great day in pit lane, but yeah, so it's going to be Logan Sheets, Ryan Doucette, and Blake Reynolds. That's going to be your front 3, but the front 2, those lap cars, it's going to be a interesting start, to say the least, as they follow the iRacing safety car, which has just turned its lights off. Oh, no, those are still on.
And Rachel, one thing that Goke may be counting on, we're only going to have 4 cars a lap down, 2 of which are damaged. So he could be counting on being the lucky dog on the next yellow, but I mean, both strategies here, there is no guarantee we are going to get that next yellow. So if we don't get the next yellow, the strategy won't pay off. And I mean, this is one of those things where both answers are right and both answers are wrong.
Very much so, of course. Aaron, would you have made that decision? Do you think that, with, of course, having just had a 100-lap green flag run, would you expect another caution?
Oh, these drivers have a lot of pent-up aggression. Drivers, they don't want to drive around single file. They want to race. They want to lead. And they've, I don't want to say they've been bored, but they all want to make that move to the front. We have one pit stop left. You want to be in that front 5, front 6 when you come in, because we've seen the pack get bunched up. The tires are fresh now. If you're running 13th, 14th, now is the best time to make a gigantic move, a gigantic play to move up to the front. So I'd say the odds for the caution, oh, look out for the big one here. It is about to get dicey as we're going to go green with about 60 to go. It is go time. There is no holding back now.
Absolutely. In fact, it could be a very good call to have pitted now as a lap down car and get the lucky dog this time by, because, well, as Aaron just alluded to, we are 60 laps to go now, which means racing is on. The pack is caught up. We could be expecting a caution at some point soon now, because, as he says, it is go time. Pace car lights are off on the iRacing.com safety car here at Daytona. We are 60 laps now to the checkered flag. 60 laps to decide the winner here in the Great American Race. Blake Reynolds will start in the front row alongside Nicholas Shelton, Matt Cocker alongside Alex Bergeron, Eric Bordeaux alongside Ryder Smith. Behind them, Eric Teskey, Connor Anton, Nick Northrup, Bobby Cheney, Tyler Groff, Chris Overland, Rob Reed, Josh Mickelmore, Nigel de Jong, Dylan C. Jones, Logan Sheets, Ryan Duchette, and Jason K. Miller, your lead lap cars. We have 19 cars on that lead lap now. As we come out of turn number 4 here at Daytona, pace car will take that long left turn, long pit road, and we will be back racing here. 60 laps to go, everything on the line.
Better outside. What's going to get that push on the start?
Pace car's off, green flag is out, and it's not a great start by Blake Reynolds. Is on the outside. Nick Shelton able to really keep that car going. But the inside gets a good shove as Matt Cocker really pushing that number 2 car forwards here and getting that inside line moving. But the racing is underway once again, and we are 2 wide throughout most of your pack here still, as we are really now on the edge of things, Cam.
Yes, Reynolds is looking to maybe try and shuffle away, but that second outside line, that outside line is really coming to fruition. Is, I have to say, the first group, well, they haven't seen anyone from the second group in probably about 100 laps, and they're all about to get very acquainted with one another, as the teams, or the packs, as we would know them, are going to get all sorts of shuffled up. Everyone's going to have to find a new friend, as right now it is Chevy, Toyota, Ford still, as Bordeaux is looking to go on the inside with that Doji Point car of Alex Bergeron on the inside line, though. And if you're on that outside line, I have to say, you've got to work and your butt off to try and get to the inside line. The inside line is now the entire field -3.
Absolutely, on the outside, it's, as we said, Matt Cocker, the number 1 there of Nicholas Shelton, and spin in the back of your field there, as a couple of cars have moments. It's Chris Overland around there. Doak and Overland both spinning, as we'll have a quick look back at what happened there. No caution, and it was contact. Chris Overland actually hit by the number 4 car there of Dylan C. Jones. Chris Overland nearly spins out, saves it, gets spun. It's tapped by Goak. Goak goes round after that contact, and, well, Overland cannot keep it straight. Overland goes round, as this has changed everything. Chris Overland now, rear quarter panel damage. Jonathan Goak, front quarter panel, as the number 4 manages to carry on without anything wrong with him. Although he has dropped off the pack there, so after being saved by the caution guys, oh, heartbreak for Chris Overland.
Bad to worse. You get your chance, you get that chance at redemption, and just a bump draft in the wrong spot turned him just a little bit, which, I mean, there is no ill intention by the 4, no ill intention. You can bump all day long, but if you just get it at the wrong time, at the wrong angle, the bumpers don't line up correctly, and you can unfortunately and unintentionally turn that car in front of you.
Perhaps a little keen there by the 4 cars. We know that pushing in the corners, well, Cam, it's normally a very sketchy situation at the best of times.
No, it's not sketchy, it's just plain dumb. Everyone knows to not push in a corner, especially in these current day cars. Maybe in the car tomorrow cars, that was something that was a bit more acceptable with those spoilers and the rear wicker windows, that little wicker that traced the windows going to the spoiler, which just funneled a lot more different air. But I haven't really seen any bump drafting here in the turns, and when we have, I think we saw Sheets with that amazing save after, well, that wasn't actually, that was a different scenario altogether, but just, I know we've seen it a couple of times where people bump each other and they have gotten massively loose. So I think it's just unfortunate, especially after a restart where you know you're going to be in contention. Just get back in your lines and go for it. But that is not what has happened, and now we've got the 2 lines of Blake Reynolds and Matt Kocher looking to take the lead of the Daytona 500.
He certainly is. It's Matt Cocker on the outside there, pushed by Nicholas Shelton. As on the inside, Blake Reynolds, one of only 2 cars down there, really, apart from the 20 car behind him. As the outside line forming up strong once again here. As on the outside, they are really pushing through here. Matt Cocker will once again be scored your race leader, this time by the line. The inside line really being dumped here, so this is really an inversion, Cam, of what we've seen in previous races here, where we used to have the bottom line being the dominant choice. The bottom line really killing tyres, and these drivers running high to conserve that, and it seems to end up being faster.
Yes, and also perhaps they're looking at, hey, if we get a caution, I want better tires than the guy alongside me, as, well, we're going to have more fuel to need. But I have to say that that incident did have the horribly adverse effect of splitting the packs up once again. But This lead pack is still about 10-15 cars strong. Now it's actually about 17 cars strong. It looks can be a little deceiving, but I think it's probably one of the saddest moments that we'll have here today is if you look in the mirror of Chris Overland's Chevrolet, well, you'll see a pack of lead lap cars looking to get on by.
It's certainly making things very unusual here as we've had some moments happening further back in your pack, of course. Rejoining the track after incidents, Chris Overland with more damage on that car after getting involved in a few others. He's now about to go one lap down here to your lead as Blake Reynolds. He is coming through with the lead pack. Turns 3 and 4 there. Overland about to go one lap down as we have a big bunch up of your leaders there.
Oh.
Matt Cock on the outside. Number 1 of Nicholas Shelton running high as the 2 and the 5 get very close to the outside line there. Running on that low side, Aaron, is really hurting their tyres. They need to get this pass complete and single file out.
Yes, they do, and very heads up, and here comes the lap car. How do they file? How do they file through Overland? They caught him at an interesting spot, but that was
wall.
able to let Reynolds take the lead momentarily. Rodor going to fight back on the inside.
Very much so as it stands. That was a very awkward place to get past Overland, although I think being in his position he wouldn't be too bothered about where they passed him. Some perhaps negative feelings for him as Tyler Groff has also crashed now.
Yeah, something rather peculiar happened with that car as it's just been sitting there for a while. It almost looks like all controls just went away or something as the wheel just held on to the right and he hit the inside wall. Now the car has just stopped and it's been sitting there last couple of laps with the wheel still turned. So something strange has gone on with that car, but it's well off the track and right near the pit entry service, so I don't think we'll see a yellow for that.
It certainly will not be, unfortunately, but as it stands, this field once again spread out. We have the top 12 cars really together there, from Blake Reynolds all the way back to P number 12, which is Nigel de Jong there. We come from a lap down. He is there with Rob Reed in P number 11.
3 wide for
They are chasing
third.
the back of your pack, and we have 3 wide at the front here. This could end in tears as they go past the car over the 20. 16 at the middle, trying to find a hole as we come upon the 23 of Rizzi. Everyone gets through with no drama there. Thank God for that. As, we have 3 wide a second time, as these guys are really determined to have another caution. The one cuts down in front of the 20 car there, Nick Northrop. Nearly caused another moment, but 2 wide still for your lead. 2 wide, 2 deep there as it's on the outside. Blake Reynolds behind him. Matt Cocker pushing as in Derek Bordeaux on the inside with the 16 there of Ryder Smith. This is almost looking like the old COT days, Aaron, with 2-car tandems.
Yeah, I think as we get to the end, as the leader tries to cut the draft off, not really going to work. That's going to allow as they pass Goke, which these lap cars right now, at some point in time when we get down to 10 to go, you have to hope that they realize they aren't going to gain any time. And, you know, as soon as you can't gain a position, it's best to pull off the racetrack. Right now, they're still in the race. They still can gain positions. But as we get down to 10 to go, if we're dicing like this, the last thing you want to see is having to use a lap car as a pick. But we are seeing lead change after lead change right now, and it's going to be like this for the final 50 laps.
It certainly is, and well, the racing is certainly on now as these drivers battle and vie on track for every position they can possibly find as the 5 is out front. Derek Bordeaux leading his first laps in the race today as they come upon the 27 car there of, I believe that is Jason K. Miller. In fact, he's actually the spotter of Tyler D. Hudson, one of the drivers in the NASCAR Pecan Series Series. Don't forget, folks, you can catch the first race of the season for the big guys on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 2 a.m. GMT on Wednesday morning. I'll eventually work out how to compute time. It's a very complex thing. It's a bit wibbly wobbly. But as we carry on, it's Derek Bordeaux out front with Blake Reynolds there pushing him. Although it's outside the 2 of Reynolds with Matt Cocker. The 1 behind them of Nicholas Shelton helps make that a trio. Behind that, it's a 20 car of Nick Northrop with Connor Anton and Alex Bergeron. They are working on this one once again, 2 wide, 2 deep. As we battle now really into the real final laps here, Aaron, as these guys are desperately trying to find every position, be at the front. But this is going to cause a caution scene.
Yes, we're about 4 laps away from, should we have a yellow, we can toss out the fuel mileage and make it to the end. As it stands right now, we will have 1 green flag pit stop should we go green the way, and that's going to be the real decider, but you want to be leading that train coming in. So don't think if you're running 5th or 6th, you just want to cruise. You want to be at the lead of that pack coming in, and that's why we are seeing these drivers fight so hard for every position, because as the run goes on, and if we get spread out, you don't want to be tailing Charlie and fall back and lose the lead pack. You have to be in position to have a chance at this, and that's why we are seeing such aggressive dicing, and momentarily, or for moments, we've seen through by as Shelton hits the wall.
Nick Shelton has hit the wall there, and one of your one-time leaders has had a moment off turn 2, which has been the site of most of our incidents in the race so far, but, well, the number 1 Subway Toyota has taken himself out of the race here at Daytona. It's looking like he will not be your race winner. That front right damage looks pretty much like the end of it for him. Unfortunate, as he's been one of our front runners all day long. But at the front, it's the 2 and the 16, the 15 and the 5, with the 20 following up the rear of that small group there, as they make a slight breakaway from Connor Anton, Alex Bergeron, and Eric Pesky to the rear. Well, this has certainly changed the entire landscape of the race for us guys, and this front pack is still spreading out there as they go around the inside of the 11 car of Nate Lorensky, one of the other lap down cars. He's multiple laps down, trying to make sure he finishes this race. Of course, a 200 lap race is certainly an achievement to complete in its own right.
Oh, so much. We've seen the turn 2 wall come up and just bite drivers. So, yes, the Daytona 500, you only get 1 shot a year, and yeah, you do want to win it, but it's also finish it. That itself, as you said, is an achievement. Of course, you would want to be on the lead lap contending for the win, but a lot of these drivers that do specialize at the super speedways, they wait all year for this race, and when things don't go their way, they do want to, in the least, finish it. It's a bitter finish. It is. These drivers aren't, you don't want to go around 10, 20 miles an hour off the pace, but you want to finish it because this race only comes around once a year.
Absolutely. The Daytona 500, the great American race, certainly a unique feature in motorsports and sports in general, Aaron, because of course it's the only premier event in sport that happens at the start of the season rather than the end.
And for those that win the Daytona 500, that's a thing all season long. Of course, it's a big honor, and for the driver that wins tomorrow, well, their race will be on display at Daytona, USA, outside Turn 4 for the rest of the year. But what a great honor to have to win this race. That's something that you remember all season long. And for the driver that finishes second in this race today, that's something that's going to be in their mind. What could they have done? What could they have done differently to have won this race? So finishing second here, it looks good on the score sheet, but as a driver, you will replay it all year long of what could you have done to get that just one little thing to take home the checker flag. Very much so. Of course, the draft always been a major feature here at Daytona, and, well, first driver to really discover that was actually Junior Johnson back in 1960. Of course, very little understood at the time. Only 1 year after the start of the race, when the patriarch of the Petty dynasty, Lee Petty, won in the very first Daytona 500 in its current format. Yeah, Junior Johnson had an old car, a slower car, but he managed to use that aero to his advantage, and he won in only the second running of the race in its format we see today. Also the biggest field at 68, Aaron, so quite an achievement. But this draft, it's been all important. It always is at super speedways. For second.
We have contact, but everyone's managed to survive that one so far.
I don't
as
know
Northrop tries to make a move there and just gets pushed out of the way. The 16 goes up the track. Can he hold on to this one? He can, and he does. As what a save we saw there.
And that's the second time we've seen a save in the trioval, but Rachel, how many times are we going to have contact in the trioval that doesn't result in a multiple car incident? These drivers have been lucky getting away. Of course, we saw Sheets go on the apron, almost sprint carring it sideways with counter steer, but they're not going to be able to get away with that too many more times.
Absolutely not. Of course, the racing will get much more exaggerated as the laps wind down here, and expect these guys to do it over and over again. Of course, we still need one more pit stop, so this is not over by a long stretch. That pit stop, though, did give them an opportunity, but they will still have to come back down again. Expect everyone to take 4 tyres. They are that important here, Aaron.
Oh, and nobody, if you do need a full tank, nobody's going to risk 2 tires, or at least I wouldn't think they would risk 2. You might have somebody that would try it, but oh, how many times have we seen somebody try a 2-stop strategy and it just ends with a major loss of positions? We did mention Shelton hit the wall. His car in the draft is okay. He has maintained 9th place and is not losing any positions. For the drivers that took the gamble, we are reaching that lap 160 mark. They are going to have to pit. So for the drivers that did take the wave around, that gamble, they've been about 2 seconds off the pace due to the older tires. So they're going to have to make a pit stop, and they're going to find themselves back 1 lap down.
It certainly is, and as we were alluding to before, Aaron, this draft is so important here at the Super Speedways. Of course, not seeing the 2-wide racing we've had in the past at the moment, but even as it stands, and trying to make these moves, you're seeing drivers using those lapped cars, trying to get a little bit of aero toe off them, just to take advantage momentarily, just to gain a couple of meters on the guys they're actually racing.
And we just saw that right now as they're almost had to chicane around 2 different lap cars. He had one low, one high.
Not a respectful positioning from the lap cars.
Sort of going for a field goal through the middle, making the leaders do, but they were momentarily truly side by side, so that was a heads up thing for them to really get on the extreme ends of the racetrack. Of course, the leaders, it's easier to avoid a stationary object. You don't want drivers going side by side, as Ryder Smith going to go to the inside, going to go for the 2nd spot. Let's see who the leader chooses, and this is where the leader, as we get further in, they're going to want to work both lanes. You don't want to get, you don't want to get one lane to get so much energy that they're going to be able to work past you. So you're going to see the leader, whoever it is, sort of help both lanes, because by helping both lanes, you're helping yourself, as the leader now goes high as a 16. And boy, whoever is that 2nd place car, if they do break out to the outside, they're not going to get it, I don't think. Does Ryder Smith get the run off of turn 2?
Well, there's more cars on the outside, Aaron, and that's always going to be a major advantage here of 4 rather than 2, but guys splitting once again, deciding who to work with here. The 16 will go past the 5 on the high side. Will he have enough to go through on the inside? No, the 20 goes down to help him. This is getting exciting as the 20 goes back up again. The 20 was engineering this fight for the lead here, as we see that, but you made a good point there of talking about the leader helping both lanes. Of course, often it's very difficult to see on the broadcast as you see a leader switching lanes. It's often thought that they're blocking a run that a lane might have, but in fact, they always go up to help the weakest lane and actually give them a run before dropping them and killing it, maintain their own lead out front so nobody has an advantage over them.
Yeah, if 2nd and 3rd are side by side, they're really not going anywhere as the 20 brushes the wall. So our 20 car, Nick Northrup, who has had issues trying to figure out who to help, he tapped the wall, so his car is going to be damaged, and might be a little bit more damaged than what Nicholas Shelton did.
It certainly looked that way, and the 27 of Jason K. Miller, thing in the way a little bit there, but not really anywhere he could go.
Oh, so things, we said that if we got a yellow, turn this race upside down, and absolutely it has, but for the leader, everybody behind you is your friend and your enemy. You want them side by side, fighting among themselves, and you're up front just, helping one car, then not helping the other car, then helping the other car, and just hoping one lane doesn't get such a run that there's nothing you can do. If a lane gets about a 5-6 mile an hour advantage, yeah, you can try to throw that black, as we saw that right there, as I think we are going to now have a lead change.
It is Matt Cocker to the inside there of the 5 of Derek Bordeaux, as Cocker gets the push from the 16 of Ryder Smith. And he will come through now to take the lead up ahead of the 5. He drops the 16. We're racing like we're 5 to go here at Daytona. And we still have a bit stop to go, Aaron.
Still have that pit stop. Remember that. We still have that pit stop. And at this rate, I don't think it's going to be under green.
Absolutely not. Of course, these guys pushing really hard now. As your lead pack still many
outside
cars
line
from here. As the outside line, of course, proven dominant once again, giving these guys a major advantage here. But the inside really gives you the fastest way around. The tyres won't hold though. Are we seeing drivers perhaps going to split this one, Aaron? Maybe half and half. for that caution rather than do the whole fuel distance and then pit late for a shorter stop.
You can stay on the lead lap. That might be the way to go. If you get enough cars and you can run faster, if they're fighting this hard for the lead, if you were to peel off and pit, well, the way they're battling right now, this is slowing them down. We aren't seeing the 205 miles an hour. We're only seeing, let's see, as we enter turn one, only 201. So if you got 3 or 4 cars right now to pit and they work together, I think they would come out ahead of this group. But is this group even going to be able to get to the pit stop at the rate we're making contact?
Well, we obviously aren't sure, but...
Oh, there we go!
As it stands, crash.
What a save by Brodeur.
Incredible save there. Take us through that one, Aaron.
Yeah, that's... we've been having a lot of side-by-side action, and the 5 looked to make a move, and, well, he was alongside and also partially being pushed, but he tried to make a move, and he was partially alongside and very lucky not to hook the leader of Ryder Smith. Very lucky not to hook the leader. That could have been game over for a lot of racers.
It certainly could have been. That would have taken out most of our top 12 cars here, as we're all within P1 through 12 between 1.4 seconds, Cam. What a very small gap to have so many cars in. And, well, one mistake, as we just alluded to, can spell disaster for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Ryder Smith, he has not been up front. He's really been a 3rd or 4th place car all day long, so he's getting his laps out front. Matt Kocher following behind. Derek Bordeaux there, I think he picked up a little bit of front-end damage during that exchange, but I have to say Connor Anton and Alex Bergeron, as well as Eric Teskey, these 3 guys have been waiting all race long, as well as that second pack, which is coming on strong, led by that dark blue Napa, well, actually, standby one. Nigel DeJong just went on the inside with Rob Reed, and I have to say, this is really one of the first times I've seen those cars. They're all still closing in, and they're still keeping right on up with that pack after that that earlier incident with Overgaard, as he had had that issue, or Overland, excuse me, not Overgaard. But overall, though, we are back to having one full massive pack. Looks for right now, they're going to try and stay single file. I think they're starting to realize, hey, we're a little crazy here. Well,
this time past the line, we're going to have 31 laps remaining, and hopefully we're just going to put to a quick commercial break, and we'll bring you the final 30-odd laps uninterrupted here on Motorsport TV. And so hopefully join us after the break, and we will have an incredible conclusion to the Daytona 500 here on iRacing Live. Thirty laps to go at Daytona here in the 2016 NASCAR iRacing Series Daytona 500. Out front is Matt Cocker with Derek Bardo, Ryder Smith, Blake Reynolds and Connor Anton, your top 5. What a race we've had so far, Aaron and Cam. Incredible action here at Daytona, and it does not seem to be settling down.
Not settling down at all. Nicholas Shelton, the one car, he hit the wall about 15 odd laps ago. He just bounced off again, so these drivers are giving it their all and a little bit more. What we're seeing, we're late in a run, and the amount of driver right now that it takes to be able to make these moves with these tires that are not really enjoying this hot track today. It's been a very difficult drive, and we've seen championship caliber drivers conk the wall off of 2.
Yes, it's been a very interesting race as far as I can say. Just we've had that long stretch of green flag running, and now we've got the slicing and dicing here as this front pack seems to be pulling away, actually. Well, it's the front 3 cars, of course. They'll slide on back, but boy, they are still racing hard well back. There's actually a little plume of smoke there. Somebody touched somebody. And
yes.
Here we go. A couple of cars coming into the pits. Nigel De Jong will come into the pits. Rob Reed will come into the pits. Bob Cheney and Nick Northrup. So we've had our first runners coming in. Now, when you're racing this hard, do you even tell the competition around you? Do you even give them the courtesy of telling them you're going into the pits?
And now that they pitted, Rachel, is that going to force other drivers' hands? Because if they can stay on the lead lap, and should we get a caution, well, if you're on the lead lap and everybody else comes in, you get to pass everybody while they're stopped. So does this force everybody else's hand?
Absolutely, Aaron. This is going to really force, I think, a lot of drivers to head on down pit road. As Cam said, yeah, now is not the time to start telling people, although Ryder Smith has done just that. He is pitting this time by, and it's going to make it a very short run to the end of the race for him. And here comes most of your lead pack. Everyone comes in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 cars. 8 cars will pit, including a couple of lap down cars, but this is it, the final stop here. Now is not the time to make a mistake on pit road.
Hit the box. You don't want to speed. You don't want to have to parallel park as Bordeaux, our leader, did that. Skated through, and now he's playing the parallel parking game. That is going to probably end any chance he has at winning this race, and we'll have to see once this group comes out, where did the cars that made the stop the first lap, where do they come in? This is the real pivotal point of the race, should we not get another caution.
Very much so. Of course, that mistake there by the driver of, that was, of course, Derek Bordeaux. Definitely going to cost him. We saw Overland do the same thing, Cam, and that really put him back in the pack. In fact, he lost 10 spots, and the field is even more bunched up here, so could be a race-ending mistake there for the 5.
Well, I think he recovered a lot better than Overland did, as he is still right behind Blake Reynolds, who is within draft range of the rest of the team. But we'll have to see as some of the other cars will come on down into the pit road. We'll see who's going to be up front after this. But that second pack is going to have the speed to catch up to that first pack. I think it'll be just about one more lap, and we will have a full field of running here as Ryder Smith will take the first position here on lap number 175. 25 laps to go.
It is 25 laps to go here at Daytona, the final 8th of the race, as we are looking at a very exciting battle for your top group here on the track.
Well,
as it is, in fact. Sorry, Aaron, you point?
We have 2 drivers that have not pitted, so scoring-wise, Josh Micklemore and Dylan Jones run 1-2. Of course, they are going to have to stop, but they're going to...
Oh, problems, Aaron. We have an issue here, as we were 3 wide racing through 3 and 4. As the drivers of the 3, the 12, the 1, the 14, so that's the likes of Nicholas Shelton, Bobby Cheney, Nigel de Jong, and Rob Reed, passing a lap down car high, and that's the 27 of Jason K. Miller, whilst they were running 3 wide, so big evasive move by Shelton.
And it's all take right now, no give. So that side drafting that you mentioned earlier, where they were side drafting, but they weren't really side drafting. We're going to see now drivers leaning on each other's door, trying to stall them out. Play time's over, friend time's over, the diplomacy is over. You got to take every spot you can get, and if you're running 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, you can't just sit back and wait. You've got to go now.
Absolutely, now is go time here at Daytona. These drivers not taking any single, should we say, disadvantage. They want everything they can gain here. They are waiting on nobody. Friendships made earlier on, well, this is when you cash them in, of course. Out front, the 16 car, realistically here, as we know that Dylan C. Jones and Josh Micklemore will have to pit at some point, Cam.
Yeah, a couple of people will have to still come in, of course. Josh Micklemore and Dylan C. Jones, those are the only 2 front-running cars. They've got a couple of lap cars ahead of them, one being Chris Overland. I'm sure Overland not very happy at the position. He's in 16th, whereas Dylan is in 2nd position. Well, you know, they'll get together and they'll see what they can do just for about a moment's time before they will have to come in and give the lead to Ryder Smith, as I did call him the leader because, well, I thought that's what had happened, but no. We do have the 2 holdouts, but with time I'm sure they'll storm on in. But just this front pack, though, they're one extraordinarily long bullet train, at least for now.
Very much Cam, as the 16 leads himself. Alex Bergeron, Eric Teskey, Blake Reynolds, Derek Bordeaux, Nigel de Jong, Shelton, Reed, and we also think they also have in there, yep, the 12 of Conor Anton, Nick Northrup, Bobby Cheney, and Matt Cocker. So they're all basically 14 seconds back from Mickelmore and Jones, and that has been the advantage there of a pit stop, as well, they are gaining so much time here. So we do really think that Josh Mickelmore and Jones, they can't make this to the end. They cannot stay out. Is it possible?
No, and if they do make it, I think post-race tech should take a look to see where the extra fuel tanks were in their car. So I don't think there's any way. And so the battle for what will become
they're pitting in.
now is
we have them pitting in now. Mickelmore and Jones are heading to pit road with Overland, we believe, and I think that's also the 18 car of looking down there, Calvin Allison, who's leading the lap also. So yeah, we have cars pitting now from the lead of your race. That will put Ryder Smith in the lead of this motor race here at Daytona as we head now 20 to go.
And we got Bergeron getting shuffled back. He was running what was second in the train. He is on the long road back to the end of the train. And look at Nicholas Shelton, Rachel. We thought his car was going to be damaged beyond being able to hang. He's in 5th, but with that damage, can he only really dictate who wins? Can he win this race with that damage? Because when you get that damage, when you break out into clean air, it's like having a parachute. So is he only really is second the best he can do?
Well, we think that is certainly going to be the situation, of course. Any damage on your car at Daytona? Oh, it's a major disadvantage for the drivers here. Nicholas Shelton, that one car had been running so strongly. But of course, right front damage from the turn 2 exit wall. Well, it's been a sight we've seen many drivers graze throughout the duration of this Daytona 500 here today. And, well, if you haven't, then you've had a good race. As a few, like Ryder Smith, Eric Teskey, Blake Reynolds, Rob Reed, and de Jong, they have not made that mistake, and it's put them in a position now to be at the front of your race. In fact, only in your top 5, 2 drivers qualified in your top 10, Shelton and Smith, as Teskey, Reynolds, and de Jong all qualified outside that top 10, so a big shift for them. Reed in P6, also P12, so, well, your guys in the top 3 who qualified there. One, Logan Sheets, he's qualified 2nd, he's running in 15th. Overland, your pole sitter, P18, 1 lap down. And Jason K. Miller, well, Bill Brown qualified 3rd, he's back in 26th, so looks like the start of the top 10 has been a bit of a curse today, Aaron.
Yeah, Teskey tried to take the lead to the outside, couldn't get it done. Then we had the leader work both lanes, and now Teskey, now he's on the freight train backwards. So if you get no help and you go for the lead, you are going back. So this is going to be a game of timing. Who's your friend when you go for that lead? Who's going to help you? Or are they going to hang you out as later goes high? Now back low, so trying to work all angles, and at some point in time, if that car behind you gets just a corner panel on you and you do try to work both lanes, well, it can end in tears and you may not be the leader anymore.
Absolutely, Aaron. Of course, that game is a very difficult one to play, and everybody has to be in the same sandpit, shall we say, if you want to try and play that game. Of course, some people try and take advantage, but that is the nature of racing. As out front, Ryder Smith is doing a damnable job of keeping everyone behind him at the moment. Until Blake Reynolds really not had a chance of much of a run yet, so it's going to be a real tough one for him to make a pass now. They've all pitted. This is it now. We run to the green flag. We have 16 laps left to run. 16 laps in which to make a difference, and this will be about 30 laps on the tyres, Cam, so we'll be in that, should we say, pushy window, but things should be possible as they now come upon 21 and the 7 car of Ryan Duchette, and that is Logan Sheets.
Yes, and well, they're going to have to work their way through.
boxed
Logan
in.
Sheets, yeah, they're going to be boxed in. They're going to have to serpentine just as they did. Serpentine. Oh, shoot,
We're going to go 3
that
wide.
up. They're going to go 3 wide
This
around
is
the lap
unusual.
car. Okay, it's a strange strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out for them. But Blake Reynolds, though.
Oh,
wrecking!
wrecking.
Sheets is going over.
Yellow flag is out. Now, this has certainly been a turn up for the books, as we have a major caution heading through lap number 185 here at Daytona. 15 to go. And, wow, we're going to have to get a replay of this, Aaron and Cam. I just combined you two into Karen. We have to start this replay really back in turn 3
yes.
when the 7 of Logan Sheets pulls down low in front of your leaders, forcing the 16 high, puts himself in the middle of a 3 wide, and, well, it seems as though the 16 comes down thinking he's clear behind the 7, but he was nowhere near clear, so I'm really not sure what happened is he starts to come down when he's about halfway alongside, tries to go under him, isn't really looking, and, well, it hits him, makes contact, and only a few cars seem to get through this one, so a dramatic chain of events as the 7 of Logan Sheets, well, caused this incident from turn 4.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I think what the simplest thing has happened is that Sheets was expecting probably everyone to go up top, but Blake Reynolds, looking to capitalize on this and maybe shuffle the 16 car of Ryder well back, dove onto the inside of him, so that pushed him to the middle. And then right as they hit the tri-oval, the Ryder Smith had to kind of keep it off the wall there, and he steered away from the wall, and ultimately that's what clipped it and started this this wreck. But, well, you know what? I have to say, if you're going to want to win a Daytona 500, you have to be opportunistic. And, well, Blake Reynolds, that was about as opportunistic as you can get, pulling that lead lap car to the outside and, well, kind of force the competition back.
I don't know how much I can, I don't know how much I can pin it on the 7 because he was in the battle for the lucky dog spot and he was trying to maintain the bottom, and I don't think he thought Blake Reynolds would dive to the inside the way he did, and frustration by the 16 led to that hook. The 7 was holding his line in the middle, and I mean that's just a perfect storm right there. Really, that's Daytona in the final 20 laps.
Well, this, of course, guys, was caused by a lap-down car deliberately moving down in front of your race leaders, so not what we'd expect. Perhaps miscommunication was a factor here, but it did seem as though Logan Sheets pulled down in front of your leaders deliberately at this stage. Of course, we can't confirm that, but we saw a driver pulling in front of your leaders, forcing the leader to take evasive action with a slower car, go to the high side, and this was kind of exacerbated by the driver of Reynolds going to that low side, but this is not what we wanted to see, of course. We wanted to see a good race to the end, and, well, now we're going to have a 10 to go shootout, which could, of course, exacerbate things and make this even worse.
And out of the strangest things out of this whole thing, they've been very quiet all race long. Not shocking, but Nigel De Jong and Eric Teskey, as well as Rob Reed, are your top three drivers who I don't think up until this point have really, other than the car of Teskey, has been up front. So, well, we could definitely see someone. They've been saving their car all race long, and we'll see what is going to happen here in this 10-lap shootout.
While we were analyzing the incident, we did have half the field pit, half the field not pit. So let's throw that into the equation as well.
Absolutely, this is going to make things very interesting as Nigel De Jong, Eric Teskey, and Rob Reed are your top 3 now, coming to our 10 to go restart here. Well, this will be fun because it's 3 non-Americans leading the Great American Race.
Of course, Mario Andretti for the Daytona 500, only born winner of the race, and right here on iRacing right now you got 3 non-Americans leading, but they are on old tires. We've seen tires be a big factor. Are they going to be able to maintain it? If they all get stacked up too wide with those that are on older tires, that third lane, watch for that third lane to form on the outside, and when that happens, there is no margin for error.
Absolutely, this is going to change everything for us, and with 10 laps to go, expect 2 wide, expect 3 wide, expect as many wide as they can fit on the racetrack, guys. This is going to be an epic conclusion to our race here today. Also, we've managed to go for 100 laps green flag, then we had a couple of cautions, but now it's on. This is everything. We have 10 laps to go. 190 laps just meant you were in the race. Now, we really get to see the Daytona 500.
Oh boy, who?
Showtime.
Yeah, and I mean, you can pick anybody that's still top 10. Bobby Cheney's been strong. Nick Northrup, Dylan Jones that stayed on the lead lap. Derek Berdor, Blake Reynolds, of course, I'm working back to front. Bergeron, Reed. I mean, all these drivers have been strong all race long. Shelton, he pitted with a little bit of repairs. He's going to be strong. So, who's going to be the closer? That's the question.
Well, depending on what happens, this could be somebody from P14 who wins. It could be Chris Overland, who's actually back on the lead lap. So he is actually in a position here that he could win. That car is fairly repaired now, actually, looking at his car. His crew have been hard at work, and there are a few kinks in the metalwork, but that 13 car could be a contender here, depending on what happens in this race.
Goodness.
We have, realistically, 5 laps now. We are 1 to green before we really are ending this race into caution. But if we have any caution in the next 5 laps, we will go back racing again, but it'll be even more manic than we've seen before. This race has been 189 laps so far of excitement, intrigue, strategy, and a little controversy thrown in just for the mix. Everyone likes a little seasoning, as we got that just recently. But aside from big changes, we've had pretty constant pack here at the front, including the likes of Eric Teskey, Alex Bergeron, Matt Cocker, Blake Reynolds, Derek Bordeaux. Unfortunately, we did lose the driver there of, I believe that was Ryder Smith, who had been running so strongly, of course, Aaron. But 1 to go now, 10 laps remaining. This is it.
This is it, and in the Daytona 500 4 years ago, I was in that position. I was leading with 20 to go in lap car, same type of miscommunication. And it's one thing to beat yourself, but when a circumstance of just a little bit of miscommunication, that sits with you all year long. But what was amazing was that incident was only 2 cars in front of the field. It is go time now. I mean, expect 3 wide, expect maybe even 4 wide as, I don't know what we just about had.
Trying to warm his tires up, I think.
Wow, Eric Teskey just about lost it under yellow coming to the green.
He certainly did, as now the safety car will pull off what we hope is the final time tonight. He'll take that long left-hand turn to pit road as we will go back to green, hopefully again for the last time before we see that checkered flag flying. Nigel de Jong takes the green flag here at Daytona, and a great start for the inside line. Reed making a good run as well. Bergeron on the outside. Sorry, Teskey, I apologise. Not perhaps quite as quick, but a good push from Bergeron behind him. The 2 of Ryan Blake Reynolds making a very good start there. As 15 of Cocker, he's been good all race long. The 2 forces way down low.
Power.
2 on the high side. They haven't got the help they needed. The 3 of Nigel de Jong will be taking advantage here, as the majority of the cars here are on that low side. No longer is it time to worry about saving your tyres, it's go time now. Everybody has to use whatever they've got remaining. Every ounce of speed left of these cars will be the difference. As up to the high side goes the 31 of Teskey. He's going to try and swoop down a little bit in his lane, try and get a little bit of speed advantage there with Bergeron looking into the inside. He will keep pushing him though as that bottom line train pushes car to car to car, bumper to bumper here. They are going at it full speed now. Nigel de Jong, Eric Teskey, Rob Reed, they didn't pit. We know they didn't pit. Can they hold on here on older tyres? They're not that much older, but it will be a major factor still. As that 4-car breakaway happens at the front, so we're 2 wide behind them. That is the cars there of Teskey, and now it is the car of Connor Aston as they get really shuffled back there. 31 and 28, really not able to do anything here as Reed is pushing de Jong so hard right now, Cam. He is going for this one.
Oh, he absolutely is. As Nigel de Jong with Rob Reed, kind of the international group on the bottom, also being supported by Derek Bordeaux in that Ford. So it's the international kind of versus the All-American of Blake Reynolds and Matt Cocher.
3 wide here as we head towards the tri-oval. It's Rob Reed. It's the 5 of Derek Bordeaux, the 15 of Matt Cocker, as we are really racing here at Daytona. 2-on-3 wide racing in the pack. As the 20 pushes up in front of the 15, can he hold it there? He does. Just about managing the 12, the 15, and there's one R3 wide there. The 2 gets pushed to the lead by the 5. Will the 2 cut down? This is the time to make those friendships and break them, of course, as the 3 and the 14 getting passed by a lot of cars here on the bottom. They did stay out, but can they make anything happen yet? Lap 192 here, going on to 93. We can still get a caution and go back racing here. So this is still a time for things to happen as the 15 joins up now with the 14. Can they do anything as the 15 goes at the inside? No, he'll leave Reed. Reed has not got any help. Rob Reed on the outside with nothing to stop him as he's 3 wide with himself, Cocker, and the 22 car. Out front is the number 2 of Blake Reynolds, Derek Bordeaux, watching him. Behind that is Nick Northrup and Connor Anton. They are doing everything they can here as that breakaway is chased by Nigel de Jong there, Cam. They are really pushing hard.
Oh, they are absolutely giving it what they can. A proper what for, I believe, would be the proper term. But I'm looking at Nicholas Shelton. I've been waiting for which lane him and Bobby Cheney are going to be looking at, but they have not decided, along with Matt Kocher. The 3 very strong cars is, I think those tires are what's causing out that issue is Nigel is just falling back and falling back. That is unfortunate for him there. But just throwing it out there, Blake Reynolds is now going to be losing that lead to Derek Bordeaux.
He certainly is. Derek Bordeaux in the number 5 car goes to the top side, goes round him with Nick Northrup. The 12 car of Connor Anton at the front for the first time really here, pushed by Nicholas Shelton. He gets dropped as the 5 and the 20 pull to the low side ahead of the 2. This could be a race-winning move by those guys as Bordeaux really desperate to hold on here at the front as up comes the 12 with a big run, but as he gets a run, the 1 pulls to the bottom, Aaron. That's not what you do. You had a run going.
Yeah, but Shelton wants to win this race. You're not going to win it by pushing. You want to be the car being pushed. So Shelton's been picking off a car a lap, just weaving his way through the field. Restarted about 11th, already up to 4th as we are coming to complete lap 194. And for Nick Northrup running 2nd, when have we mentioned his name today? He now is a threat to win this race as we are going to be within 5 to go and still is anybody's race.
It absolutely is as, well, we counted somebody out, but guess who's back? Chris Overland inside the top 10 again, everybody. That's something we've been keeping our eye on, but he's chasing down the 4. In fact, the car that had the incident with him earlier on in the race, so if we're going to expect any payback, please do it after the checkered flag, Chris. But it was front 15 of Matt Cocker chasing that lead group. He's fallen back a little bit. Bobby Cheney is in P number 6 ahead of him. Connor Anton in front of that. Nicholas Shelton, Blake Reynolds, Nick Northrup and Derek Bordeaux, your leader. But will it be for long? As the 2 goes to the outside with the 1, will the 12 come with them? Will we see the bottom lane get dropped here as the 5 and the 20 get dispatched? We will. It's 4 cars to the high side, but down comes Connor Anton. He's chickened out there, leaving 2 cars on the high side. So we're seeing a lot of tactical driving here, Cam. These guys really not sure who to work with yet.
Absolutely, and let's not forget here, we have passed that critical mass. Every lap now is the last lap, regardless of what happens, whether it's a yellow or we continue, as so they have to treat it as such. And Derek Bordeaux in that Ford is leading Daytona with just 4 laps to go here, but Nick Northrup, Connor Anton, and Blake Reynolds are looking to spoil that. Nicholas Shelton is even looking to get involved there. He has been recovering, and he is just just shy out of the top 5.
Oh, well, I bet you're excited, Cam, seeing a Ford out front at Daytona. Just unfortunately, it's not the 24.
No, but that's all right. Hey, we'll take anything. As Derek Bordeaux, he will continue. But Nick Northrup, though, I'm just wondering. This is the decision process here. Him and Connor Anton, they have to have this mental link. They have to think about this. If they're going to look to get by, both of them have to go one way or another, regardless of what's going to happen. They can't one car go out and the other car stay, or go in different directions. So it's very, very testy as we finish out lap 197.
3 wide. Oh, contact! We have contact to the spin. It's Nick Northrup. No, it's not. So it's Matt Cocker and Chris Overland. They half spin and save it. So disaster nearly. We have another incident behind them as they try and rejoin the racetrack. That was a huge one. We'll try and get a quick replay of that one very rapidly. We won't talk about it because we'll have to go back and look at your leaders as we come now to 2 laps to go. He's getting sideways on the yellow lines.
Oh, that's questionable, but is he gonna get it?
Just about manages it into the front goes Nick Northrup leading now from the 5. The 5 slots back in line at the front, back live for you. As very nearly the 5 causes an incident there as the 12 is pushed inside him. The 5 will get shuttled back here. Nick Northrup to the lead at Daytona. We have 2 laps left to race here at the World Centre of Racing. Nick Northrup, he was 20th in practice, 28th in qualifying. He is now leading at Daytona. The 12 of Conor Anton pushing him. He qualified in the top 10. Well, could this mean anything at all? Nick Northrup leading at Daytona. Can he do it? On the outside, here comes the 2. It's time to start switching lanes. Nick Northrup stays low. The 2 of Blake Reynolds on the outside will go to the high side with the 5 of Bordeaux. Can they push through to the lead? We'll have to see what happens here, but there's not enough push. The bottom line has more cars. Nick Northrup will still maintain his lead, we think, because the side draft is a major factor there. Nick Northrup going up to side draft. White flag is out at Daytona. 1 more lap to go here at the World Centre of Racing. Nick Northrup, Blake Reynolds, who will get round to the checkered flag first? Only, well, no one can tell because it's not happened yet. But Nick Northrup, he is at the front. He's going to pull up in front of him. He will do it. Has to pull down again. Will the 12 get a run? No, he pulls the low side. 2 on the high side, making a big move here with the 5, pushing for all their worth. Can the 20 do this? Will they get the advantage in the corner? It's looking like the 20 will get a good run here. The 2 being pushed by the 5, all he's worth. 20 cars still out front, 2 edging closer. This is going to come down to who can push the best here as the 12 of Conor Anton comes to the inside. It's Reynolds, it's Northrup. Reynolds will win. Blake Reynolds, your winner here at Daytona. Blake Reynolds in the number 2 Chevrolet will win the Daytona 500 2016 here on iRacing.com.
3 1,000ths. 3 1,000ths of a second, and I think that race was won, or rather lost by Northrup on the back straightaway. He could have stalled out Reynolds. Instead, he went for Conor Anton, and what a run off of 4 by Blake Reynolds.
Absolutely amazing finish here at Daytona. What a result we saw there. And honestly, I can't tell you who I would have preferred to win, but that's the sort of finish we needed. We had a 0, just for context folks, the gap between first and second here was 0.0.03. 3 1,000ths of a second. There isn't much you can do in 3 1,000ths of a second, but for Blake Reynolds, there's a Daytona 500 he could do in 0.3 thousandths of a second. That was an incredible finish. Bordeaux and Anton, this was the win they decided, Cam. The pushing from those 2 cars in that final lap, it was a old school Daytona finish. We saw an incredible result here today.
Yes, and Blake Reynolds enjoying the lofty and lovely donuts that you can get as he is in the turn number 1 for the endurance race here, but he is squirting those tires, and that icy number 2 is that's not just a notch in a hat, that's a belt buckle right there. That is something that you will hold on for a very, very, very long time. So Blake Reynolds coming from 14th position, he was in the front group, the back group, the middle group, and finally he has come away a victor in that number 2 Chevrolet.
Well, hopefully right now we're going to see the number 2 car. He is burning the number 2 Chevrolet down to the ground as he's actually entered the road course here at Daytona, continuing there with his victory celebrations, and a well-deserved celebration they are for Blake Reynolds. An incredible race from him. He qualified outside your top 10 in P14, but he's come home now with the win as he will do a Polish victory lap around Daytona. As, yeah, we're going to run through your results now. Sorry, we're all calming down from that finish. And what an incredible finish it was in the 2016 NASCAR iRacing Series Daytona 500. Blake Reynolds will come home with your win here today. Northrup will come home in P2 by less than 3 1,000ths of a second. Derek Bordeaux comes home P number 3. Conor Anton P4. Bobby Cheney P number 5. Nicholas Shelton P6. Dylan C. Jones P7. Rob Reed P8. Josh Micklemore P9. Alex Bergeron will round out your top 10. Rest of those positions up on your screen, and only 14 cars finished on the lead lap, so you know what, we're going to read those too. P11, Matt Cocker, Nigel de Jong, P12, Chris Overland, P13, and Eric Teskey in P14. Cam, Aaron, what an incredible race we watched tonight.
Absolutely incredible, Rachel. And last 10 laps, you got to give it to everybody in the top 8. We finished this one under green. They were bumping in the corners, but they really looked out for each other. Everybody got to the checkered flag, and that's what you really want to see. You don't want to see somebody throw a block, throw another car into the wall. Northrop could have done something that might have guaranteed the win, but would it have been sporting? Maybe not. That was a very sporting finish, 3/1000ths of a second, and that's what iRacing. That's what this is about, Rachel. The finish we saw today, that is what everybody that races, that's what they want to see. That's what they want to be a part of. And I hope everybody that watched this got that sensation of what this is about.
Absolutely, we had an incredible result here today, and what a finale we've experienced. Just an incredible race here at Daytona. Hopefully we'll see if we've got anybody here to come for an interview. Nobody has, so, well, we're going to sign off here at RaceSpot TV. It's been an incredible race here at Daytona. 200 laps of action, we've had drama, we've had intrigue, you have a winner, and that is Blake Reynolds. Well, there's still more races to go in the NASCAR iRacing Series Daytona 500. There's 2 more opportunities for you tomorrow. And of course, join us on Tuesday at 9 PM Eastern for the first round of the Peak Antifreeze Series here on iRacing Live and RaceSpot TV. Well, see you next time. Good night.